Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck to Sim live stream. Today it's the 19th of January 2020, 5 minutes past 8 here in the UK. And yes, we're back inside the ZIBO mod. Enough stress last Sunday in the Airbus. I'm very glad to be back in familiar territory again. Today been extremely busy. This afternoon I've been liaising with ZIBO and Twerkster. They've just recently updated the ZIBO mod to 3.39 and introduced a new CG envelope and the ability to distribute passengers, and the amount of work that's gone into this is incredible. I'm going to show you how you can use it, but now the position of the CG matches the real aircraft, so the balance, the trim that you set for takeoff is really important that you do that all correctly now, otherwise it won't work at all. Just saying thank you to Literal Gamers, or Literal Games, just joined as a member right at the end of the cued music there, so thank you very much for your membership. Welcome to the channel as a member. I appreciate all the support that I get there, and I hope you're all otherwise doing very well. So yes, quite impromptu. I didn't announce this on any of the social media forums because I wasn't sure if ZIBO was going to get all the updates done today. For about 3 o'clock this afternoon till about 6, I kept testing it. There was little bugs, and then he released another version and another version. We got up to what are we on to now? Our current version is 3.39.5H. We started on D this afternoon. We got up to H. It's non-public, but it seems to now all be working correctly. So we're going to do the wind balance in a bit of detail. We'll discuss a little bit about centre of gravity, how it's quite important, and how you can use it in the ZIBO mod moving forward. And I think afterwards, ZIBO will release this version for you to use, so you can see the all the correct diagrams and stuff. For some reason, Nightbot's not working correctly. I have no idea why. It is listed as a moderator. It just doesn't seem to be registered or making any announcements, which is a bit unusual. I've never had any issues like that. I might try and see if I can fix it on the way to Oslo. But apart from that, we're in Birmingham at the moment in the United Kingdom, flying to Oslo in Norway. We've got about a flight time of around, I think it's about hour 50, 2 hours or so, but the aircraft is fully set up, ready to go. We're just going to basically discuss the routing, the briefing, and look at the CAG table in a bit more detail. Thank you very much, Kieran, for joining as a member. Kieran Harvey there, I've seen you comment quite a few times, so thank you very much for joining, and I hope you're well, I'm glad you enjoyed the content. You enjoy all the members only Discord and the exclusive members only content. That's it. So yes, Joe M, you're right. Nightbot, wake up. I have no idea where he is. Brian Kruger, it's Nightbot's day off. Absolutely. So yes, here we are on the ZIBO mod in 3.395H in Birmingham. The scenery is from TDG, is one of my favourite freeware scenery developers. I downloaded it today. I can't believe it, you know. Being based in the UK, not a million miles away from Birmingham, I can't believe we've never actually streamed from this airport before. So I thought today, one of the guys in Discord mentioned, could you go from Birmingham? And I thought, oh, yeah, we'll do that today. So yeah, Birmingham to Oslo. We've streamed out of Oslo, but we've never actually landed there. So that's what we'll do anyway. So let's jump into the mod. Like I said, I've already got everything set up. Essentially just got the performance left to do. Then we'll discuss the rest going onwards. Portion2905, thank you very much for the €2 donation. Keep the great work up, Captain. Highly appreciate that. Well, thank you very much, Portion, for the donation. Appreciate that. I'm glad you are enjoying the content. Fantastic. So yes, we're in the ZIBO mod, Birmingham to Oslo. The aircraft's fully loaded. I've done the fuel as well. And if you look into the FMC, we're getting to the point where we have to do the performance. So let's have a little discussion about how I've got to this kind of figure today as I just knock into things on my desk. So here's the flight plan. No, you have to press charts, OFP. There we are. So here's the flight plan today. Birmingham to Oslo Gardermoen, to kind of show you geographically where we're going. If I flicker a million pages, we get a little bit of a map here. There we are. So we're going to be taking off of runway 33. It's high pressure dominating pretty much all of Northern Europe there, so it's lovely right now. I think it's about 1 degree here in Birmingham. Clear skies. It's very cool. Like last stream, we're 12 hours behind live time, so it's 6 minutes past 8 in the evening in real life, but we're 6 minutes past 8 in the morning, so that way we can enjoy the sunlight and the beautiful scenery as we go northeast today. So we're going to be taking northbound. I think we're flying towards Liverpool around here, then we're flying around Newcastle, eastbound over the North Sea, making landfall over Norway. I can't give any towns down here. there's Oslo Gardermoen, the main international airport, and our alternate is Oslo Torp to the south, so if we have any issues we could divert into there. So that's where we're going. So As you well know, we usually use SimBrief to calculate all of the mass and balance accordingly. It's very accurate, in fact, to the real-world flight plans. But what you might notice is the way I was doing it before, you select on SimBrief the amount of passengers you want. You want 160 passengers or whatever. Today we've got 168 passengers. But if you select passengers, SimBrief's what they take as a weight for passenger isn't quite what it should be. So if you select passengers, your zero fuel weight shouldn't match what it is. So what I've done today in SimBrief, instead of selecting passengers, I've selected zero fuel weight. And I've selected a zero fuel weight of 57.3 tonnes. Now, that is based off a passenger amount of 168 passengers and no cargo. Imagine everyone's brought in checked-in bags today. So that's the first thing you want to make sure you're doing now in SimBrief, is to punch in a zero fuel weight, which is 57.3. Now, if we go to the new page here for fuel weight and balance, we've got 4 pages, and you can see the zero fuel weight I haven't updated yet. It's still 43 tonnes. That's because I need to fill out the OPT, and by the time I get all the figures in, it won't be exactly 57.3, because it'll be showing you to the nearest kilo. So this is an empty aircraft at the moment. That's page 1. These CG positions are now incredibly accurate. There's lots of different configurations of the 737. If you go to page 4, you can actually now in the ZIBO mod select your config. So we're on 189, so an all economy layout here today. 180, 160 are kind of like the first class economy class splits there. We then have passenger zones. Now, I had a lot of messages in saying, why have we got this new passenger zone thing? Well, this is exactly how we fill in the onboard performance tool in reality. We have to put how many passengers are in each zone. Now, there's 2 ways of getting the information in. You can either put the total passengers, let it distribute it automatically, or you can put the passengers in each zone. I'll show you how to do both today anyway. Thank you very much to Nick Reichels, who just donated £8.52 from Streamlabs. Thank you very much there for the donation. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. So that's it. Now, you could change the figure for the weight of a male and female and a child. By default, I think it's slightly different. What I've changed to is kind of like the EASA official weight of a passenger. Now, in Europe, when we load, certain airlines use something called standard weight. And at my operator, we use a standard weight for a male or female. They don't differentiate between an adult. So it's 84 kilos. And a kid or a child, they use 35 kilos for the loading. So that's been set up that way. This is the CG envelope, which we'll discuss shortly after we've loaded the aircraft, and we'll talk a little bit about CG, how it's so important to load. I think I might do a tutorial on this, but I just wanted to cover the basics to get you going, basically, with the latest ZIBO update. So that's the zones, which we'll fill up there, and then, yeah, back on page 1. Now, you've got 2 ways, as I said, to load up the payload. You can either punch in the passengers manually, so you could type in, let me try and remember how to do this now, this, and then payload total. Now, what you need to do is put the amount of passengers you want, so 168, and press this little button here, which generates a P, and you can press enter. And what this does, it randomly distributes the passengers accordingly. For example, this is an all-male passenger flight. It doesn't matter for as far as we're concerned, because it's the same weight for females anyway, so it's all fine. Creed 0002, I know, was one of my members. Thank you. Was wondering if your Scarebus rating arrived. Yeah, based on last week's live stream, I'm quite surprised. Airbus haven't written out to me and said, what a great job, and you can add that to your type rating. No, I haven't received an Airbus type rating. I only rated on the 737-300 to max, unfortunately. Thank you very much for the donation there anyway. So yeah, passengers I've loaded. Remember, I punched in manually there 168 passengers. Now, my operator, we don't have 5 zones. We have 3 zones. We have a forward, a mid, and an aft. Every airline is different. If ZIBO was going to go to the length of personalising the EFB for every airline, he'd be there all day. So you've got the kind of standard Boeing out the factory zones, I think, zone 5. We use 3 zones, and I'm just going to have to slightly modify this. You do not have to worry about this in reality. I'm just doing these figures here, so it matches the CG of my real-world OPT, because I had to do a bit of trial and error to ensure that works. Now, this is just to demonstrate how accurate the ZIBO mod is now with weight and balance. You don't need to worry about this. I just stick in how I showed you the passenger amount and accept the CG that you get. But I've now changed that all there. Now, that's it. If you take 84 kilos, times it by these figures here, that shows you the weight of all the passengers, which is 14.1 tons of passengers, essentially. So that's in. Now, what we need to do with this figure is work out the zero fuel weight, which obviously the ZIBO mod does for you automatically. 57.2, if you remember rightly on the OFP, we're looking for 57.3. Now, give or take, that's absolutely fine today. So 57.2. Just make sure you got the passengers in. It says 57.1. That's fine. I think it's rounded to the nearest there. The reserves for the sector off the flight plan, that's to get to Oslo Torpers, 2.3. It's important that you get this all filled in so the C of G graph represents what you need. Cost index is 30. I filled in the rest prior to the stream. Temperature of 1 degree, which is in there as well. We'll do the takeoff first as well afterwards. Mr. Swedish Piano, fantastic username. Hi, Captain. Just wanted to say I really appreciate your videos and get me in a happy mood, even though I'm down. Well, I'm sorry that you're down, Mr. Swedish Piano. I don't know if your piano's broken or something, but I hope my stream is certainly amusing you this evening, and I hope you get yourself sorted out very, very soon anyway. So that's it. We've got everything set up there. According with the zero fuel weight. Now, just to show you here, thrust setting today is going to be 22k, which I automatically calculated off the OPT earlier, and our thrust, or chute temperature, sorry, is going to be 41 degrees. Just to punch this in here, this is again from the official OPT. It should be getting 85.8, it says 86.0. Now, this is really, really important, guys, down the ZIBO mod. You might have noticed how in all of my live streams and all of my tutorials I said, certainly at the start, we never used the CG function. Well, about 2 years ago, my operator started using an electronic weight and balance load sheet, and we actually use the CG function every single sector. Now, just to demonstrate to you, if we look here in the OPT here, we have all of the CGs now automatically calculated. You know how I fiddled with these passenger figures? That was just to make it match the kind of zones that I have at my operator. We now have takeoff CG of 20.4. That's what's really, really important here. Now, if I go here I have a screenshot of the real world performance weight and balance calculator. You can see how my operator, we have kind of the 3 zones here. We've got 168 adults loaded, and look how it's matched pretty much here. The takeoff weight is 20.1, we've got 20.4. Now, even at my operator, we have 737s, some of them are 15 years old, some of them are brand new. The CG can change about between 1.5% of the mean aerodynamic chord between some of the aircraft in the fleet. So the fact you're within 0.3% of the real OPT here just shows you how accurately the CG has been edited by ZIBO and Twerkster here for him to use there. Thank you very much. Lee Russell has just joined as a member. I'm glad you're enjoying the content, and you'll be automatically invited to the members only Discord as well. Thank you very much. So you can see how the CG matches. 20.1, 20.4. The zero fuel weight, look at that, 16.9. 60 point. This is the official Boeing onboard performance tool data, by the way, and you can see the operating empty weight when it's empty is pretty close as well. So rest assured, you don't really need to worry about the distribution of passengers, guys. You could just simply type in the passengers manually, let it distribute it automatically, but you need to make a note of this. It's really important. Takeoff CG 20.4. Now, in front of me, in the Boeing onboard performance tool, it says if I put in a C of G of 20.1, which is what we got, sorry, 20.4 calculated, we should get a trim of 6.0 units. Look at that. You put the CG in now, the trim is exactly what it should be, and it's really important, guys, that you now set this, because the default CG position has been adjusted to match the real aircraft. So really important, every sector you take your takeoff CG 20.4, punch that in the OPT, make a note of a trim, and just simply set it. That's exactly what we're doing pretty much every day, every single sector at my operator. And that's it. The V-speeds are matching precisely what I have in the OPT, 144. That's it. All the ZIBO mod is now missing is an accurate performance calculator, but there is a good one available from someone on Discord. I always forget. I need to link him in and try it one day. But yes, I hope that sort of makes sense. I think I might make a tutorial anyway in time, kind of discussing the process in a little bit more detail and a bit rushed. And again, if you check here, you have all of your weights in here. Now, on the route, just want to get the ball started here, we'll kind of discuss the difference between our CG, forward CG, what the effects are. Basically, you want to make sure all of these pluses are within this white line. If they're outside, you're out of limits, and I'll explain what would happen if you would do that, and what we'd actually do in reality if they were out of limits too. Thank you very much to Russell Abdul, who just donated £2. I hope you're doing all right, and thanks, well, Russell Abdul, doing absolutely fine, very, very well this evening. Thank you, and thank you very much there for the donation. Right, so that's it. The OPT performance weight and balance is sort of covered. Anti-Teal, is the trim modelled? I can't remember. Yes, it is. It wasn't as of last week. The C of G previously was a little bit out of position. It was a little bit too aft. It's now been moved. The default CG is, but that is for an empty aircraft, to the kind of correct position based off real data. But yeah, it's now bang on where it should be. It's really, really impressive how accurate it is now. We've got to make sure it works, actually, because I haven't actually taken off to see if it's going to tip over before we rotate. We'll have a look anyway. If not, it'll probably go back to the drawing board slightly. But hopefully it'll all work okay. Right, so we've got the APU running. No ATC, obviously. I'm taking a little bit of a break from VATSIM at the moment, just due to the constant issues we're getting on the network from trollers and God knows who else. But we're ready to push and start from stand 58 here in Birmingham for this flight to Oslo. Got the rest all connected. We do need to get the better pushback organised, though, anyway. So we'll go here, ground services, better pushback pre-plan. There we are. So we'll push back something like this. And into position just here. There we are.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
Right. Better set the QNH. Very high pressure here in Birmingham at the moment. I think we're into like 104. I don't think I've ever seen pressure as high as this over the UK. Not for a very long time. High pressure gives you quite benign, calm weather, but also the risk of fog if the temperature dew point match up there. So let's get the correct QNH set, which is 104. That is crazy. That's really high pressure. Right, let's request pushback here as well.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Guys, yes, I will get a chance later on to catch up with any questions in the cruise. Again, the Nightbot is not working at all, completely broken. I have no idea what I've done, but hopefully he'll make a return at some point today, a lazy git. Right, so we can do the checks before pushback, so we'll turn those off. Anti-collision light is on. Parking brake is set, transponder to out off. We'll give ourselves a spurious transponder setting. Let's go for 2, 3. Let's go. What are we? 2020. That's the year we're on. How fitting. There we go. Right, we're all good. Fantastic. Banana cakes. It's foggy here in Birmingham now. Yes, I should think it is because the temperature dew point's quite close. The METAR at the moment.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
The METAR at the moment is showing CAV 1 degree, but it is forecast mist, fog, and 300 meters visibility, freezing fog, from about now till 10 o'clock in the morning. So yes, probably a bit sketchy for the guys landing quite late at Birmingham later. I think they've only got Cat 2 on one of the runways, on Cat 3. They don't have ILS at the moment on runway 33. I don't think they haven't had ILS on runway 33 in Birmingham for years because of a drainage issue, which has been noted for a very long time. Speedbird 7471, it's 1049 in Exeter. Yeah, really high pressure. It's been a lovely day here in the UK though. Really nice.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Yeah, so parking brake is released. There goes
Starting
the air bridge.
pushback, and you may start engines.
And we're all looking good. So let's show you where we are going. So here we are, stand 58 up here in the corner. We're going to be facing southwest. We'll taxi via Echo and then departing runway 33. We've got the figures for Echo here, so quite a short taxi. It's an RNAV SID, not much to say really. Close in obstacles. After departure, remain on tower until instructed. They'll tell you to go over to London at some point. And it's basically climbing straight ahead to BBN 30, max 250, platform, no, not above 6,000, right turn to BBN 32, then to Louvum 6,000 feet, as East Midlands there, just to the north as well. And do not climb above 6,000 feet, which I have set here on the MCP as well. Right, let's get the engine started. Starting engine number 2. We look like we're okay. But yes, if you have any questions about the new weight and balance, you know, leave it in the comment section, especially in the cruise, when I'll have a bit more time to get back to you and answer any of those queries, and we'll go from there. Right, we have N2 rotation, all pressures increasing. There's N1, waiting for our 25% N2. There we have it. Engines on. Very good. So, starter cutouts, come on.
50, 40.
Here it
30,
comes. Starter cut out.
20,
That's coming up to
10.
24632 is stable. Starting engine number 1. Thank you very much to KPS, who donated £20. Crikey, KPS, thank you very much. And you've donated
Operation
quite a bit
complete.
before as well. Thank you
Set parking
very
brake.
much for that. Just set the parking brake and get the fuel in on engine number 1.
Disconnecting toes. Stand
I
by.
don't have this issue saying thanks to guys in real life. We're well off the taxi line here, Mr. Pushback. Pushback driver. I'll just get the fuel in KPS. What did you say? I ended up getting the day off work when you happened to be streaming. Been looking forward to another one. Hope you're doing great. Well, thank you very much, KPS. I'm glad you're off work and you could fit on board this aircraft. We are an all economy configuration, but yeah, we're watching 615 people already. Crikey, thank you very much, guys. We're getting a lot of viewers at the moment. And the Airbus stream last week was really popular. I think we did break the record for concurrent viewers. I think we got 1,600 viewers at one point, which is absolutely crazy, guys. So thanks a lot for being on board. I got some quite trollish comments on that today, though. Looking at some of the comments on that video, someone was questioning.
Cell is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Thank you very much. Someone was already questioning whether I was a pilot due to my voice, which I found absolutely hilarious. So I said, oh, I kind of commented back saying, well, what voice should I put on? I guess a deeper voice, I'm not sure. Right, there goes our man anyway. Hopefully he'll show us the bypass pin very shortly. There we are. Excellent. Bypass pin has been shown and we're all looking good. Who just said set bank angle to 25 degrees? Brandon, bank angle 25 degrees and execute the performance page. You would make an excellent first officer if I haven't done any of that. Oh my goodness me. You'd make an excellent first officer, Brandon. I was just testing you, of course. Thanks, guys. That's why there's two of us. Generators on, APUs off, star switch is continuous, pro feed on, auto off. That is all set. Right, let's give ourselves a control column. That will be quite useful. Let's select flaps for departure, flap 5, and flight controls, full forwards and full back, and left centre, right centre. Check the rudders, full right centre, full left centre. Recall, blank the lower DU, and that's it. The before taxi checklist is complete, so we're all ready to go. So release parking brake, do the config check. There we are. No takeoff configuration warning horn. We're in business. Kieran, that Airbus stream was really great though. Chat was on point. Yeah, I know, Kieran. Oh, you guys were not helping me at many points there. We were kind of descending, and you were, what was that silly little knob called push it, pull it? And I knew that pushing it was give it back to the airplane, pulling it is let me do it, and then for some reason it went to some sort of other mode. On the approach, I pulled it because I wasn't getting the speed I want, but then I forgot to push it back in, so we were doing 210 knots until about 7 miles out. I mean, I think I'd missed that another 15 seconds later. It would have had to have canned the approach, it would have had to have gone around. And then I absolutely fluked it into city. What was that, 90 feet per minute landing rate? Unbelievable. I wish I could land as smooth as that in reality, that's for sure. Oh dear. Right, anyway, there's a nice external views today. Norbert, 1699, have you ever flown into Birmingham, Captain? Yes, several times. I've not ever been based here, but often the operator can position you out of their bases for a few days. But yeah, it's been a couple of, no, 2 or 3 years since I've been to Birmingham. Lovely. Sierra 8888, engine anti-ice. Yes, the temperature is only 1 degree, but there's no visible moisture, so there's no requirement for any engine or wing anti-ice here. Luciana, no VATSIM today? Nope, no VATSIM on public streams at the moment. Just having a few too many issues, and until I get round to going back onto VATSIM and seeing if there's a way to block people effectively, which I know the Swift client does, but at the moment the issue isn't the fact that I can use a client to block people. Some of these spammers have, or had, 50 plus accounts, so all they do is basically create another account. I mean, if you look on my YouTube community tab, you can see a post someone said to me on Discord showing the amount of accounts this guy had. I mean, you'd block him, or VATSIM would get rid of him, or a supervisor would, a minute later, just create a brand new account with the same name, and he could choose whatever username he wished. You know, it could have profanity in it. It's just getting ridiculous. Slog Dog, why don't you use IVA? I think the issue would just remain. And I know certain streamers contacted me and said they even had issues on Pilot Edge, which is a paid service. So yeah, not for me at the moment. I have no idea where we're going, by the way. I'm not really paying attention. Yes, we're going to continue this way, and then we'll just follow Echo on the way around here. Tim, what have you done? I owe you money as well, Tim. Tim, remember the bet has doubled now, and you're still in debt to me. Minus 120. Yes, Tim. Tim, I owe Tim about 20, 30 quid. Every stream he has a bet with me, asking what the landing rate would be. I beat him on the Airbus one, but I still owed him about 20 quid before that. Tim, I'm just going to PayPal you across lump sum like I did last time. Thanks again, Tim, for the donation nonetheless. And minus 120. We'll see what we can do in Oslo. Long enough runway there for me to hold it off a bit. Not that I ever try and do that in reality, but we'll see. Right, good time to do the before takeoff checklist. So config we checked, flaps we have 5 and 5 green lights. Stab trim, again, very important now in the ZIBO mod, 6 units, and that is set here. Takeoff briefing, the packs are in auto, the bleeds are on, the V-speeds are set for departure, 140, 140, 144 set. The departure is the Louvum 1 mic, climbing straight ahead, I'm trying to brief and taxi at the same point, straight ahead to BBN 30, I think it was, and then a right turn to another RNAV point, BBN, I'm just checking on my own charts here. This is why you brief them to your first officer or your colleague. BBN 30 and then BBN 32, stop climb 6,000 feet, NADP 2 departure, so we'll engage the autopilot at 1,000 feet and then bug up, that's it. That's the before takeoff checklist is complete. We ding this. Then they tell us that the cabin is secure, which I hope it is, and that's it. Checks are all complete. Now, when we get closer to Oslo, we'll have a chat about what sort of approach you'd like to do. Obviously, the ILS is available. I might try raw data for you guys, so turn all the flight directors off for a bit of fun, see how we get on. I'm out of practice for that as well. But we might have a little poll on the way down. We might do the RNAV, raw data, we might do an auto land. I'll let you guys decide as per usual. Right, so we've got the figures at Echo, so we'll take a right turn here. And we'll imagine we've got our takeoff clearance. The wind is, I think, calm. It's cav okay, it's perfect conditions. So, imagine we've got our clearance. Now nav, auto throttle, transponder to TRA, weather radar is on. So our MCP is set. Transponder TRA, strobe lights we have on, don't need the logo light now. Landing lights are on, and there we are, checks are all complete. Burak, catch you later, guys. Have a nice stream. Thank you very much, Burak. Have a great evening, and we'll catch up with you later on Discord.
50.
Tom Knudsen, don't forget the Emma Freight and standby Q&H. Tom, you're very, very, very good. Testing you as well. 1048 Emma Freight. It's going to be temperature corrected because it's, I think, 0 here. We'll have to guess that. Let's call it 1,000 feet above aerodrome level, but I did forget to set it, Tom. Testing, of course. Thanks again, Tom, for your donation too. Right, this is probably the steadiest lineup you'll ever witness.
On runway 33.
Excellent. So runway QDM's 327 is now matched up on the ND, and we'll just bring it to a stop. So guys, I think we're all looking good. Runway is ahead at 8:30. Our ETA is going to be about 10:20. I'll take some shortcuts en route, and I think the star, we'll be there about 10:15 or so in the evening. Obviously 10:15 in the morning in the sim. Right, I hope you're all ready, guys. Let's start the timer. Stand those thrust levers up to 40%, and let's see if the trim works. If it starts putting the nose up at 80 knots, we've got a problem. Right, that's stabilised, push toga, set takeoff thrust. There we are, 86.0, takeoff thrust is set, indications are normal, light forward pressure on the control column, don't forget to do that.
80 knots.
That's checked. Neutralise the controls. Lovely evening, or morning I should say, in the sim. No rudder really needed here. V1, hand off the thrust lever and rotate 2 to 2.5 degrees per second. That's a little bit quick there. And
positive
gear up with the positive rate of climb and trim. lovely. Feels really, really nice, and that takeoff trim was very close.
400.
That's LNAV engaged. Looking good. Excellent. Right, so there's a right turn. And we'll engage the autopilot. And what on earth is that? I don't think that's there in real life. Flipping heck. If it is, that better be no-tabbed. Right, bug up. I've not seen this. I've not even done a test flight for there. I just didn't have any chance to check anything, but I would not recommend hitting that. Right, there's V2 plus 15. That's the white bug. We can select flaps 1. It's lovely now. It's really been adjusted nicely, nice and smooth. Pitching down used to be a little bit aggressive. All looking good. It's a beauty to fly at the moment. It's a beauty to fly, really. Maybe I was just giving it credit. Maybe it should be slightly pitching up that high. It should be a little bit shallower, about 1,000 feet per minute whilst we're accelerating. There we are. Flaps can go up now. Good. So flaps are up. We've got no lights here. We can engage VNAV and climbing to 6,000 feet initially. So we'll just go vertical speed 2,000. Accelerate to 250 knots, and we'll do the after takeoff checklist. So gear to up and off, water brake to off. This can come to auto, that can go off. So air conditioning and pressurization. We've got 500 feet per minute. Diff pressures 2.0 climbing. Auto, bleeds are on, all in auto, AUT, trim airs on, and the rest is looking good. So air conditioning and pressurization is set, and 1 to go. Climbing to an altitude, so we delay setting standard, but at that point pretty much the after takeoff checklist is all complete. There we are. Right, so we'll imagine we've been told to transfer to London, and London has given us an unrestricted climb to our cruise level, which is flight level 370, which is coming now into the MCP. There we are. Now VNAV, obviously the restriction here is in the FMC because it was a hard altitude, so we just need to delete that and execute, and happy days. It will continue now all the way up to flight level 360. Now when I press standard, look at the difference change here. Look, it's nearly 800 feet because of the difference between 1013 and 1048, whatever it was. So big pressure difference there. Right, standard set 5.5 for flight level 370. And it's a lovely morning here in X-Plane world, live weather. So even though the sun is rising in X-Plane, the temperature is dropping. But that is the way it works. Dougal, yes, you're replying. Thank you very much. Too many trolls for now on VATSIM. Yes, that is why I'm taking a break for the network. Budget Sim, hi Captain, what's the flight on the audio panel for? This little flight switch here. So, I've probably explained this in a few streams. So you have your mic select panel here, and we're currently selected to VHF1. That means that on the back of the control column, if I push the upper switch towards me, that means I'll be transmitting to VHF1, the frequency, which at the moment would be 122.8, which is Unicom for VATSIM, I think. If we select it to flight, this is going to get a bit complex unless you don't know the background knowledge here. If you have these switches in the middle position, you have RT to transmit, IC is the intercom. Having it in flight allows you to transmit on the intercom if you didn't have it selected to intercom. So it sort of allows you to talk amongst each other. So if you're sat here with your headset on next to your colleague and you wanted to talk to each other, you just leave this little switch here in the IC position, the intercom, and it's like an open mic, like you have in a light aircraft like a Cessna. It allows you to talk freely. If it's in the middle position, it's the hot mic's off, so you can't hear each other, it's just silence. And if you put flight on and transmit to RT to flight, it's the same as having just the intercom on. So we generally don't use that en route. Now, the only time we use the flight function really is to talk to the ground crew. The ground crew, the pushback coordinator or the dispatcher will plug into the intercom via flight typically, and to talk to him, we can either use the bottom switch on the control column, which is the equivalent of using the intercom here, or you can transmit RT to flight, which allows you to talk between yourself. Now, I can guarantee you that I've confused most of you here. It is a complex thing if you don't know, but you know, we use this every day. In the desktop simulator world, you don't need to worry about intercom, flight, or anything like that, but that's how we use it in reality. I might do an Instagram post on that, because I'd be far better writing that down than me trying to explain it. I certainly remember on my type rating when I started, I was confused about how that system worked. So it's that's how it works then. William Middleton, have you played RFS? No, I have no idea what that is, I'm afraid. 2 tons of love, responding to someone, that's fine. Dazzy Arab, hi Captain, have you ever used Pilot 2 ATC? No, I haven't. And look at this, because of my lack of aptitude and the fact I'm distracted, I've completely missed my post-cruise, or pre-cruise checks I should say. So at this point at 10,000 feet this should have happened. Lights off, pressurization is all good, fuel pumps are as we need them, APU's off and set, release the cabin crew, we should have done that at 3,000 feet or roughly, and then we can release the passengers though as well, recall, make sure we're monitoring the distress frequency 121.5, that's what we'd be doing in real life. There we are, perfect. Stuart Walsh, would you take offence if your first officer turned your intercom switch off? Yeah, he's sending a message, that's for sure, if he did that. So off towards the Trent VOR. I think I actually put that on standby, 15.7. There you are, you can see the needles swinging around. There we go. Get rid of the Birmingham charts here. Yes, I usually with the streams I do the full setup and then I explain things in detail, but I really wanted to get out to the fact that the OPT, what it could do there. And again, I think I might do either a post or a little tutorial kind of explaining how the CG works now. And I will go into a bit of depth in the cruise, why it's so important as well. I'll be perfectly honest, I actually got one of my ATPL books out earlier just to have a brush up on CGs, datums and arms, because you know, day in, day out as an operator, you know, we don't reference that, we just punch the figures in, make sure it's within limits and go. You know, we don't really look at the CG diagram that often, but it's important to know what it is and how it works, and I will explain that later in the cruise. Sorry, I was trying to show you something. Yes, where are we? That's what I wanted to show you. There's nothing you ever want to hear from a captain. There's Derby, Stoke-on-Trent, northbound, coming over towards the Peak District now, flying towards Sheffield, and we are heading northbound towards Newcastle before we make a right turn eastbound. And once we get closer to Newcastle, I'll give ourselves a few more directs. You can see, look, already routing in the wrong direction, and that'd be quite typical. You know, airspace restrictions this way would be quite direct, difficult to get a direct. Probably this time of day you might do, but you know what, I might actually give ourselves a direct to Digby, just to save a bit of time. There we are, let's go direct Digby. Unable, insufficient fuel. Now this does creep into the ZIBO mod of fuel times, you get these little glitches. We're arriving with 3.3 tons, we should not be getting the message insufficient fuel, so you can disregard that straight away. I would not be disregarding that in reality. I'd be a little bit worried. Can we actually see any of the Peak District? No, just lots of mining. It's the beauty of Ortho 4XP. You're flying over the photographic representation of the world below. It really is quite nice. And I think you can kind of see the fact that the weather's updating to show this sort of low visibility mist that would be developing over the UK this evening. As the temperature drops, the dew point gets closer together, air gets saturated, and it's classic signs of fog at this time of year. Jordan Hollywood, do you have a map like that on the real EFB? No, we don't. So it's quite nice to be able to differentiate between a nav aid perhaps and seeing where you are, but there's lots of useful apps that I look at. Not so much now, but if I fly over a new route especially, I like to actually look at an atlas to see where we're going. More importantly is to see what en route alternates there are. So, you know, I want to know that if something happens, you know, where would be a suitable place to go. You know, in flight sim world, you can go to wherever you want, but in reality, there's obviously going to be a commercial impact upon obviously the safety impact takes priority, so if you have to get down, we'll get down no matter what. But obviously if there's an issue where we can perhaps decide where we want to go, we want to go somewhere which is going to be the most convenient to our passengers, the company, etc. But we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, no idea when Nightbot is. Absolutely ridiculous. I know it's a Sunday. Should be tired from last week's stream. I've no idea what's working. He's a moderator on the channel. I've refreshed it, re-added it as a moderator, so no idea why it's not working. No idea. Alberto Singaglia, sorry if I mispronounced that, buddy. In the ZIBO, can you make a passenger announcement yourself with the PA button on the mic selector? Well, I mean, theoretically, you could pretend if you select PA and then you can transmit on the VHF, but we don't actually use that function. In our aircraft, we have a mic fitted here, which plugs into the pedestal directly, which is the equivalent of transmitting on PA. The danger is, if you use the pedestal, you select... Oh my goodness me. If you select PA and transmit, you forget to do it, and then all of a sudden ATC talk to you, you talk to ATC, but you actually still got PA, so all the passengers have heard you request climb to flight level 360 or something, so it's quite embarrassing. So generally we don't use that feature. And Alberto, yes, there's no need to ask the same question again. I do try and read them as they come in. Greg Scott Nightbot is working now. Oh, he is! Fantastic! When did... Thanks for turning up. Oh, crikey, who's bought some merchandise? Tough Bob! Thank you very much, you bought a mug. What? I cannot read the flipping comments. I cannot wait till I get 2 monitors, guys. Oh, my goodness. Thank you very much, Rough Bob, for the mug purchase. I look forward to seeing a picture of you with that in your hand with a nice coffee upper. Appreciate that. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I got lots of little mugs. I've got lots of posts on Instagram and Twitter this week of people getting the mugs, so I really appreciate that. I've got my flight deck to sink mug downstairs, and I'm rather hoping my partner will fill it up with a hot brew in about an hour's time if I'm really, really nice. She did cross with me today because I spent the whole day on the computer testing the ZIBO mod. I said we'd be doing something else. It took me about 3 hours to test certain things. Then I had to get the TDG scenery from Birmingham. That didn't work properly. But we got there in the end, so... there'll be no streaming at least to the end of next week, that's for sure. 10k subscribers without any video challenge. Beautiful username there. Do you recommend becoming an airline pilot? Well, do I recommend it? It's not really a question to ask. If you want to do it, and you're dedicated enough, you'll do it. And I did not have the financial means to do it. I had to convince my parents by working, as you all well know, in a supermarket selling chickens for 2 years. Well, no, 3 years really. Saved up what I could to cover the kind of living costs, and my parents agreed that because I worked that hard and I wanted it that much, that they'd get a loan, secure it against their house. And it took me, best part of 5 or 6 years to pay that loan off when I started flight training. I had tough times, I had no disposable income when I started my career, but if you want to do it, I can 100% recommend it. You know, at the end of the day, I haven't worked a day in my life for the last 8 years, 9 years, I could perfectly say. I do have rubbish days at work, of course. It varies so much, and at home on your desktop simulator, you know, you're not exposed to the pressures that you're involved with in real life, and I do my best to explain some of the things we go without giving too much away, but yeah, you get the idea. But yeah, I absolutely recommend it to anyone if they want to do it. Thank you very much, Guy, who just... Oh, Siri listened to every single bit of that. Oh, crikey. Oh, where's Siri? Guy just donated £5. Thank you very much. Hey, are you a professional pilot? Also, is being pilot harder than being a computer scientist? I'm always scared that the pilot could forget to do something which can cause the flight trouble. Does that happen often? Well, just before I answer that, Guy, thank you very much to the anonymous individual who purchased the mug. I really appreciate that as well. I look forward to seeing that being retweeted and reposted, so enjoy many a brew from that mug. Thank you, anonymous individual. Guy, to answer your question, are you a professional pilot? Yes, I think I've got nearly 5,000 hours, been flying the 737 for 8 years. I was an instructor in the sim for a short while, became a captain nearly a year ago, March last year. And I've been streaming for about 2 years, and I think the channel's about 3 years old now. So yes, is it harder for being a computer scientist? I shouldn't think so. I think computer scientist sounds pretty challenging. You know, flying, is it inherently difficult? It takes a certain person, I think, to do this job. I've trained enough people in the sim for just kind of see kind of aptitudes, how they vary and stuff. They're all very good generally. You don't need to be phenomenally clever, but you need to have a certain way about yourself. You're scared that the pilot could forget to do something which can cause the flight trouble. Does this happen often? Very, very, very unusual. Incidents in aviation are incredibly rare. Very, very rare. It's very safe. When incidents do happen, yes, pilot error is often the most common cause of that, but there's often a kind of a chain of events which cause a pilot error. We're human, okay? All pilots are human. We make mistakes, but there's so many safety nets in place to capture these errors, we say, that the chance of something happening is incredibly rare. By far the safest form of transportation. I think last year broke another record in terms of lack of incidents, obviously not associating that with the MAX crisis, but yeah, incredibly safe. You have nothing to worry about, and you have nothing to worry about the professional people up front either. So yes, thank you very much for the donation there. Carlson 4242, Oslo is my home airport. Fantastic. We've never streamed into Oslo. We've only departed it. So this is the inaugural Oslo flight. So very, very good. Brandon Postman, you've been very much on cue today. Bank angle to 10 degrees, but I noticed it whilst talking. And do not knock the joystick whilst you're streaming because it disconnects the autopilot, as per the real aircraft. So yes, thank you very much for spotting that. I do like it when you guys spot it, because often I do when streaming on my own. Thomas Pascoe will enjoy my mug when it arrives. Well, thank you very much, Thomas. I don't know if you were I guess you were the anonymous individual that bought that. Thank you very much. Slog Dog, in the FMC it says CG is 4.3. How do I set the trim wheel to exactly 4.3? I think what you are referencing here is the Cruise CG preset, which you find here. Do not worry about, oh crikey, Cruise CG shouldn't be around 20.4, it should be about 5, but at my operator this is fixed at 5%, we don't change that. You don't need to worry about this. All you need to worry about is during the performance, for takeoff, if I can access that page, some data missing here, you should be able to see this still in the cruise, but yeah, you've put the CG from the OPT in here, Avitab. Where are we going? Fuel weight and balance. It's changed now because obviously we're burning fuel. The CGR always changes. That figure there now says 19.8. You'd punch that in there as well, but that's obviously updated itself because we're flying. And I think this is completely interactive as well. So as we burn more fuel, you'll see the gross weight will go down, and eventually the gross weight will merge with the landing weight as we approach Oslo, which is pretty cool. So yes, that is not a feature in the real aircraft. Right, who did I miss the donation from there? Thank you very much to Blind Eye 1995. I swear you've donated before as well. I really do appreciate the multiple donations. Not required. Hi Captain, is it possible to use the vertical situation display for approach today? I can't stay with you, but I will watch later. Great work in explaining. Blind Eye 1995. I'm not going to turn it on now. I will write it down, and if I forget, I can only apologise. What I will do is put it on the first officer's side, or the pilot monitoring side, which is what we do at my operator, and for the lower behold me, I'll try and remember to do it. If someone's still here in the chat in a couple of hours' time, which I doubt, because I'm sure you've got far more better things to be doing than watching me fall around, I'll try and remember to do it, and I've written in big letters in front of me on the flight hand, VSD on for approach, and hopefully it will catch my eye for you to see. But yes, thank you very much, Blind Eye, and I'll try my best to remember to turn that on. Thank you very much for the donation there. I think it's all working pretty close to the real VSD as well. Looking good.
1,000 to go.
Florian Graf, is there any decent alternative to the OPT app that is available for free? Yes, there is. I'll find it very shortly. Where is Discord? There's a chap called Zanian who has a freeway OPT, which I've yet to compare, but I think it's not bad for a desktop simulator at all. Yet to compare with the real Boeing OPT here. If any of the what do you call? I don't know. I don't do YouTube streaming. What do you? I think moderators. I think you have the power to post links. I'm not sure, but there is one from Zanian on Discord, which I'll find the link to. How do I invite? Invite people. Oh, I know. I don't want no because you can invite to my private Discord. There is one from Zanian, which I'll try and find the link to. If someone could send me the link on Discord, that would be great. And then I'll get you posted to that. We got another donation as well from 2 Tons of Love, donated £1. Thank you very much. Which previous stream were you doing circuits in the ZIBO mod? Was it at Stansted?
50,
No.
40, 30,
It was in...
20.
Did we do circuits? No, we went... Yeah, we did Stansted to Prestwick, and I think we landed in Prestwick, we did a touch and go, a circuit, and landed in the ZIBO mod. The only other stream I've done is in the 200, where we had a bit of fun messing around, and then I have a tutorial in East Midlands in the PMDG NGX. Now, if you want to learn how to do circuits, that's the one I would recommend. because it's very detailed. I went to a lot of effort to making that one to ensure that it matches what we do in real life with regards to base training. So I'll just get you the link for that. YouTube base training. Obviously my internet is crawling along pretty steadily at the moment because I have my entire bitrate dedicated to streaming. What am I looking for? I'm looking for base training 737. Yes, if you type in YouTube base training 737, it's the second video. I'm copying the link anyway, and that would be where I'd recommend to practice the circuit training. There you go. Cool. Dougal, thank you very much for the donation there. Dougal, who's a very well-known, I say this every time you do it, very well-known in the sim community. You're often watching all the streamers, I know that. Many thanks for bringing the ZIBO to another dimension for us. Well, thank you very much, Dougal, indeed, and for your continued support, donations and membership. That's really appreciated. And I hope you're doing well, obviously, as well. We know you just came out of hospital yesterday, so wishing you a speedy recovery indeed. Thank you very much there. Taran Laxman, EGT readings are not balanced. That's quite normal. ZIBO has, I think, a slight difference in the two. That's exactly the same with the real aircraft. No two engines are exactly the same, so you often get one that burns slightly more than the other, and you'll find that over time one will actually burn more fuel than the other as well. I remember flying once in an aircraft. It was noted in the tech log, and it said there was a significant difference between the fuel burn. We took it from the UK to, I think it was one of the Canary Islands. We landed, and there was about 150 kilo difference between the fuel tanks. They were equal when we started, and that's because the left or right engine was burning a lot more fuel, and that's because it was an older engine. That's quite common. 2 tons of love, couldn't remember which it was. Yes, the ZIBO mod. That's the tutorial for the base training there. Right, so here we are, 370. So much for looking down at the UK and Newcastle. I think what we'll do, we'll probably be talking to Scottish now. We'll give ourselves a shortcut to Vaxit. Probably should have done a little bit sooner, which I think is the boundary anyway, between Scottish and Norway. I'm not 100% sure. There we are, off we go over the North Sea. Taran, can you rectify that by cross-feeding? Yes, you could. You could. Oh, can you change the EGT readings if you try crossing? No, that has nothing to do with the EGT readings. Cross-feeding just allows you to move fuel from one tank to the other. The only way you could get them to match is perhaps give you a slight split in the thrust, but you just let it do its thing. There we are. So a bit of a stonking headwind, unfortunately. Well, I say stonk, it's only about 67 knots, but it's obviously lowering our ground speed to 390. Not ideal. The highest ground speed I've ever managed is about 600 with a good tailwind. Googly Lemo, hi Captain, last time you mentioned you're now using an electronic logbook. Which program are you using? How do you like it so far? Thanks for your streams. Googly Lemo, again, my apologies for completely mispronouncing that. I've had the same electronic logbook for the best part of 10 years, MCC Logbook Pro, and it's very, very good. I'd recommend that. There's Log 10 Pro, but the MCC Logbook Pro I've got doesn't require subscription. It was a one-off payment. I think the new one does. But yeah, I'd recommend that. Tao coming in with another donation there, 25, I think Ron, is that Romanian? I always forget my currencies, guys, sorry. Thank you very much, Tao. Glad to be back after having been away for quite a while. Can't wait to catch up with what you've been up to. Well, Tao, we've been busy on the channel. Obviously, I'm off this season. I take some time off in the winter with my new contract at work. But yeah, we've had lots of streams. Airbus last week, this stream this week. I'm planning a stream because we're approaching 40,000 subscribers. I'd like at 40,000 to do kind of like a special stream, perhaps in an aircraft very unfamiliar to me, that Russian Tupolev perhaps. I know there's a Concorde. I need to speak to someone to see if anyone's flown the Concorde, because I think that would be a really cool stream to do the classic Heathrow to New York or something. We'll see then. But yeah, thanks, Tal, anyway. Christopher Henriksen donated 20 Norwegian kroner. Thank you very much. As always, thank you for great streams and videos. You're most welcome, Christopher. Glad you're enjoying the streams. Thank you very much. Now, where is... interesting. ZIBO, if you're still watching, why Why am I not going towards Vaxit? LNAV's engaged, and we're very much not going towards Vaxit. That is a bug. Let's just bring Vaxit to the top and execute. Interesting. Not sure what happened there. Which he's a turning now. It's a good job if you didn't go away for about 20 minutes, otherwise we would have gone 20 minutes in the complete
50,
wrong direction.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Thank you very much, Generation Blowout. You have super chatted $4.99. Thank you. I'm taking Intro to Aircraft Systems at my college, and I'm amazed the pistons don't absolutely destroy the inside of a cylinder. Science is crazy. Absolutely, Generation Blowout. Thank you very much for the donation. Yeah, the internal combustion engine is still incredible. You think about how old it is now. I mean, over 100 years old, and what power they can still generate out of that is incredible. Really cool. But yeah, very interesting. I remember looking at piston engines when I started my PPL and my ATPL. All of the science behind that and how they need to be operated in an aircraft engine. So thankfully I don't have to worry about piston engines anymore. But yeah, thank you very much and good luck with the rest of your aircraft systems course. Tom Knudsen, you don't have to donate, you just comment if you have a little comment. Thank you very much anyway. Did you remember to
50,
update Avitab to
40,
0.3.16?
20,
I have
10.
no idea. Yes, Avitab 0.3.16, which I think I did a couple of months ago. We're on the latest version, I guess. Thank you very much, Tom. Anyway, we do have the latest version. PH Gaming, Flydate Sim, would it be necessary to use crossfeed to compensate for the difference in fuel burn? Talking of engines, I start a new job at Lotus Cars tomorrow. I didn't even know Lotus was still existed. PH Gaming, well, thank you very much. Oh no, thank you very much for the comment. Would it be necessary to use crossfeed to compensate for the difference in fuel burn? Not really. If it's kind of approaching over 100, 150 kilos, then perhaps. But if you're already in the descent, I'd leave it. Yeah, I mean, I could demonstrate it, but there's no point. There's only 10 kilos difference, but I have done it a couple of times where there's been a bit of a significant difference, and engineers will very quickly chase that up post-flight if there's anything that needs to be noted. You know, excessive fuel burn perhaps on another engine. But yes, otherwise, no real need. George WO has just joined as a member. Thank you very much for the support. You'll get exclusive access to members-only content, all processed via the members-only Discord. Thank you very much for that, and welcome. Stuart Walsh, pistons are big lumps of metal for a reason. Awesome stuff. Right, nearly now into the stream, well
50,
over the
40,
North Sea.
30,
Freckles Aviation, £2, thank you very much. What's your outro music? Nice stream. My goodness, I need to actually, it's all royalty-free music. I think literally, I have no idea what it's called. I've had it for over a year now. I'm checking on Google now. If you type royalty-free music, and it's literally like one of the top links there. Is it Ben Sound? Yes, Ben Sound, and all of the music I use is off the royalty-free music off that site. The intro, sometimes the mid-music and the outro, it's off there, so you'll find it there. I don't really play music in the streams. I know, is it music a streaming thing? I know a lot of streamers play music, but I often like to just have a chat with you anyway and answer any questions you might have. Happiness is the name, yes. I think that rings a bell. FL360, I start my type rating on the 737NG in a few days. Any advice? Thanks. Well, best of luck with your type rating. May I remind you that these streams and any of my tutorials are not official in any way. Please do not educate yourself off what I'm telling you, because they're not official. I make mistakes. I might be telling you something completely different to what your operator might want to hear, so only use your official guidance. So based on that, I'm sure the training department, wherever you're starting your type rating, will give you the required documentation. For example, we have very useful documentation for all the sessions. It tells you what you need to study for each session. It's quite intensive regardless. Make sure you build up your tech knowledge as well, FCOM 2, FCOM 1 for your SOPs. Yeah, just keep learning. And don't forget, you never stop learning. I never stop learning. You know, every day something new. Today, testing the CG and balance, I was refreshing my old ATPL notes, you know, to catch up on CG and balance arms and datums and how it's all calculated. It was really nice for me to refresh, you know, remind me. a few things. But yes, just look at what the your operator gives you, and best of luck and congratulations as well. So well done. David Smith, what happens if you select gear up by accident on the ground? There's a lock in place, so it shouldn't be able to have any issues with that. So there's, you know, you physically can't move it. There is an override, but again, that shouldn't cause any issues. Number one tip: don't do it. Hey Carl, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for popping in as well. Hope you're feeling well as well. Your recovery is still going on smoothly. Faost, how do you set the trim before taking off in real life? Well, you have the trim wheel here, which we set electronically. Well, electrically. You have electric stab trim there, and you set your CG, and you just set whatever you need for takeoff.
50,
Another
40,
flight, some X-Plane
30,
11's just donated
20,
60 sec. God knows what it is, but thank you very much anyway. Why don't you use X-Enviro? I streamed today, by the way, with an OK landing on 174 feet per minute. That's very acceptable. Another flight sim X-Plane 11. 2 years ago, I wouldn't have told you how many feet per minute is smooth landing. I'm now a YouTube flight sim streamer, so I know exactly what feet per minute I need, which is anything less than 200 is good. Why don't I use X-Enviro? Because I think I have Active Sky, which does the same, and now X-Vision. I think if I have all three, there's going to be some sort of conflict perhaps, but I'm quite happy with the setup now. I don't want to start jamming in with any more plugins, because I don't want to start bogging down the simulator. I think I have pretty much everything I need now. I mean, you can see here, it's been growing. I've got X Checklist, which I use for the DC3 stream.
30,
X Pilot's the plugin for Sim, Avitab's Vital for the ZIBO mod, and several other others out, better Pushback, all the usual stuff basically. So yeah, I don't want to start jamming it with any more there, but thank you very much for the donation. J Basto 22, €2, thank you very much. Can I overcome fear turbulence and become a pilot? J Basto 22, firstly, thanks for the donation. Secondly, absolutely. I mentioned last stream, because someone had a similar comment about fear of flying and not enjoying turbulence. When I was much younger, I used to hate flying.
50,
My stepdad had a PPL,
40,
and I never enjoyed
30,
flying at all.
20,
And it wasn't until
10.
one of his friends stuck me up in, or a friend of my uncle, sorry, stuck me up in a Tiger Moth, a 90-year aircraft, and flew this thing around the sky. And I thought, how on earth can you know, I'm flying an aircraft that is 90 years old, upside down. How on earth could I be scared of a bit of turbulence from a modern aircraft? Absolutely fine. Nothing to worry about whatsoever. Turbulence is just a natural phenomenon. I can't think of any turbulence that's brought a plane down. There's turbulence that's caused injury, like really severe turbulence, but that just happens very, very rarely. You've got nothing to worry about at all there. But, no, thank you very much, Station, and best of luck. And, there's plenty of resources online to hopefully build up some confidence there. A couple of donations again. Ironically, donated £2.22. Thank you. I can't live without aviation. Love of my life. Well, I'm a man of after your own heart as well. And I have severe flight fear. The experience being on the plane is scary and stressful. It feels like suicide. Absurd life. Well, echoing what I just told the other chap there. Nothing to fear, really. You know, I have a love of aviation when I was younger, and I was a little bit scared of flying. But you've got nothing to worry about whatsoever. Nothing to worry about whatsoever. But I hope you overcome it. And again, access to much information online to help prevent that being a fear then. But best of luck to you. Another flight again, 25 Swedish krona. I always get, is it Norwegian krona? I didn't know it was the same name. I use all three. You have all three of the plugins. Swedish krona, by the way. All right then. Well, X-Enviro, I don't know. I quite like the setup. I might not look at X-Enviro, but if a lot of people keep stressing you need to get it, I might take a look. Thank you again for the 25 Swedish krona. Appreciate that. Awesome stuff. So top of descent 9:59, and another 50 minutes. So it's a little bit longer. The sector's a little bit longer perhaps than I wanted today. And I haven't done a 2-sector flight for a while. The last 2-sector stream was in the DC3 about a month ago. So I think we'll look towards doing a 2-sector stream soon. I'm busy doing something with the members this weekend. So next public stream I'm not sure. It'll be maybe Sunday. We'll see. I'll be quite busy next week. I might do another Apex stream at some point because I quite enjoy playing that game. I think Xbox. Jam G78 just bought a mug. I would not be able to read that text on my spare, but it's a great channel. Oh, please comment and I'll see what the comment was. But thank you very much for purchasing the mug. I need to get a second monitor. I've got no room on my desk there. Thank you very much. Enjoy many a brew there. Oh my goodness. I've bought 3 mugs of sold today. Thank you very, very much. Please come up with your comment or someone can paste it down. I'll answer whatever you send. I cannot see that without a second monitor. Linus Madsen, when are you going to fly in real life again? Linus, yes, I'm on a seasonal contract on my operator now, and I did that to get a transfer to my home base. It's due to be kind of next month at the moment. I'm out of check, so I need to do a refresher sim, then I need to do a training session in the sim, then my check in the sim, then a line check. So lots of checks coming up, due to be kind of mid-February at the moment. They're still sorting out some of my other leave as well, so it could be end of February. But yes, it's going to be another month. Yes, I think around a month or so. And I'm really missing flying now, if I'm honest, guys. Really, I'm not missing all the horrible parts of the job, but very much missing the flying the real aircraft. Wicked. Jay's here's the comment I missed. J channel, looking forward to many a brew on night shifts. Hope to talk to you on the new VHF on the Tango routes 128.360. Well, I'm guessing whoever commented that, I don't know if that was you, James, today to debug your sort of oceanic controller perhaps, or you get the frequency clearances, either in reality or VATSIM, I've no idea. But I'm not actually oceanic qualified at my operator. I've done the theoretical training, but I still need to do my sector check on the oceanics for the Tango routes to the Canaries, but I should probably think I'll do that at some point in the summer. Otherwise, I've never actually entered oceanic airspace in my entire career, but I look forward to it. And, yes, I hope you do enjoy many a brew. Thank you very much. HJ Gamer, hello. I messaged you on Instagram. If you don't mind replying, it would be much appreciated. I do try to get back to as many responses as possible, HJ Gamer, but generally I get a dozen a day sometimes, especially after streams. When I finished the Airbus stream, I had about 20 messages on Instagram, and Facebook was going crazy. I just don't have the time. I have the Discord for members, and they're always my first priority, these guys, because they're continuously getting a subscription for kind of like to either support me and B, get a service, which is kind of like any opportunity they can talk to me. So I am doing my best to catch up with you, but certainly in the last year I've really had to slow down the kind of responses to everything. It's Discord first. I tried to get back to as many YouTube comments as possible. I mean, if I'll be honest with you, if I was to spend an hour a day to respond to all the messages, I don't think I'd respond to everyone, but I'll try my best to try and catch up with that later. Fireball Media, 5 dislikes. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. And guess what, Fireball Media? Before I was streaming, there were 3, I think. So it's just the same Muppets, you know. They see who I'm streaming or announce a stream, and then straight away I usually get 2 or 3 instantly. But what can you do, eh? George W.O. coming in with a £5 donation. Thank you very much, George. I get a bit nervous when I'm in cloud for too long because I have no instruments and no situation awareness. I still want to be a pilot, though, George. Well, rest assured that if you're a passenger on a commercial aircraft, you'll be fully, completely flown by someone who's very proficient in flying on instruments. I mean, we learn to fly using instruments. I mean, in a 737 we're cheating. LNAV, VNAV, that is not instrument flying. Instrument flying is... let me do that, let me do that, wait, let me do that. That's instrument flying. It's looking at this, and the guys at the front know how to operate using just these 2 instruments. Okay, they can get you from A to B safely in any condition by matching the radials, flying the needles. Absolutely fine, nothing to worry about. Look at your instrumentation, and eventually, if you want to do that, you'll be trained on how to fly with that too. But yes, nothing to worry about at all. And thank you for the donation, George. Anyway, no need to be nervous. Thank you very much to William Henwood, who's just joined us, a member. Thank you very much for direct support. You'll be automatically invited to the members-only Discord. Now, to anyone that did sign up as a member, and I need to make a note of this on my streams here, the Discord YouTube synchronization is completely automated. You need to do this on your PC. It won't work on the phone app. It won't work on certain browsers. You need to do it on a web browser, on the internet, synchronize your Discord and YouTube, and you should get an automatic invite. I think it generates them every hour or so. I'm not sure how it works, but any issues, type in YouTube, in Google, YouTube Discord synchronization. Make sure you do that on the browser, and it will get you all sorted there. It's completely automated. If you want to be a member, which I have absolutely no quibble or problem with at all, you get a 24-hour grace period for Discord before it automatically boots you out there. But yeah, that's how that works to anyone that's joined as a member today. Excellent. Oh my goodness me, I missed quite a significant donation there from Pastor Escobar. Thank you very much there. Sorry about that. £38.42. Crazy. You've definitely donated before. Your CG is off. I definitely weigh more than 87 kilos because of all the special meals I eat. Here's some extra gas money. Well, Pastor Escobar, thank you very much. I ask that you only stay in the centre of the aircraft to ensure that the CG is within limits, and do not position yourself to the rear or front toilets to ensure that we don't get out of balance there. Thank you very much, Pastor Escobar. That is incredibly generous donation. Thank you very, very much. Most certainly not required, but thank you. Oh my goodness. Right guys, so we're approaching the kind of halfway point in the stream here, about 45 minutes to go. I'm just going to take this opportunity to have a 5-minute toilet break. When I get back, we're going to talk a little bit about CG anyway. Nice little refresher for myself, and talk about how keeping your limits is quite important. What it means on a day-to-day basis anyway. Just before I go, thank you very much to FSX Nerd, who's just joined as a member. I hope you're using Explain 11 now. I'm glad you're enjoying the content, and I hope you enjoy the members-only Discord too. Right guys, thank you very much, and I'll be back at approximately 20 past 9 UK time in 5 minutes. I'll see you all very shortly.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Well, thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed your time in the flight deck to sim elevator. I'm so sorry about that music. I selected the wrong one. That was the old intro music there. Thank you very much as well, KG1000, who just donated whilst I was away. I just walked back into the room after sending the link for the OPT sim. Donated £10. That's very kind, KG1000. Thanks for all the great tutorials. Keep up the good work and enthusiasm from Keith. Well, thank you very much, KG1000, aka Keith. There for the donation. Andrea still said the music was awful. You found yourself in an elevator there, didn't you, for a brief time? But anyway, we've turned it off. Right, so over the North Sea there, I've got the X-Vision preset looking very nice. Fix the water. I had a water issue in the week, but I found that in X-Plane 11, if you set the wave height to 0, you get this horrible flat colour. So at least we've got these lovely texture effects from the sun reflecting on the sea there. Thank you very much as well to whoever that was just joining as a member. Callum Noble, thank you very much and welcome to the channel as a member. I'm glad you enjoyed the content, and you'll be invited automatically to the members only Discord where you'll get some exclusive members only content. Thank you very much, Dougal. Thank you very much for clearing out some of the nonsense earlier. I was just reading back through the chat prior to the stream. Thanks to the moderators. Generally speaking, the moderators people I've selected moderators are members of, been a member for at least 12 months on the channel or so. So that reminds me, look at you, Anthony. I should probably nominate you. There we are. Tom again, I dare you to fly above 77 degrees north. Tom, I don't want to start going to the polar airways and all that sort of nonsense that you have to do on a map. I've completely forgotten all that sort of navigation. Don't have to worry about it. Tom, thank you very much again. What's the limit on the 737? It's 82, I think. 82. There is a limit on the highest latitude you can fly, but I can't remember the top of my head. Thank you very much again, Tom, anyway. I'm not going to be going that far north. I know you want me to do all those northern sectors as well in your home country, which you will do. Daniel Saflan with the IRS off. No, I do not want to turn the IRS off. That's hard work. ENSB, that's where you want me to go, Tom. I'll think about it. Q and Duda, our questions really that hard when applying to a flying school? By questions, I mean selection test. I heard and read it's pretty tough. Yeah, Karen, it's you get a bit grilled. My operator was a kind of like a one-day interview session. You do a kind of a normal interview, kind of a technical knowledge interview, then you have a sort of HR interview, and then your sim ride check as well. It was pretty daunting, pretty stressful, but you are prepared to set up. The flight training school gets you set up anyway. The one I went to give you practice interviews and all the information you need to get yourself sorted then. Right, so yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk about was the feature, some of the features here. So what I'll do here is pop this out of the holder, which I haven't done for years. Look at that, it's got little thumbprints on it. It's so detailed. Oh, it's really nice touches like that. Now, I've forgotten, how do I get it out of its holder? I know you can do it. It's been such a long time since I've done it. I know there's a click spot around here. I swear you can remove this from the holder, but it's been such a long time doing it, but I wanted to get it next to the FMC. Is it something I have to push under here? Where's Audio Bird XP or ZIBO when we need him, or someone in chat? How do I pop this out? I might have to do it just from here. I know you can do it because I only did it the other week. Now that's to move it around. Then there's a one that pulls it out of the cradle. Press the top, on the top. You guys make excellent beta testers for the ZIBO mod. Thank you very much, guys. Right, let's move that over there. Thank you very much as well to Freddie Mitchell, who's just donated £3. I'm doing my ATPL at BCFT. Not sure where that is. Just wondering what the average ATPL percentage was required for a job, as it's 75% to pass exams. Obviously, don't strive to scrape through a 75%. as long as you pass them, I think that's the kind of minimum required. I don't know what my averages were. My average was about 93, 94 off the top of my head. And I had to work flipping hard. But yeah, strive for the best. I think my worst was GenNav. I think GenNav got 88, 89. But yeah, OVO average was 92, 93. But yeah, best of luck. Right, anyway, so let's have a look at some of the new toys with the CG limit. Talk about CG as well, which is kind of what this video stream is about. It's a CG and wet balance distribution stream wants to do. Oh my goodness me. 2 tons of love. You've bought a die cut sticker. Brilliant. Thank you very much. 2 tons of love. I look forward to seeing where you stick that to. Thank you very, very much indeed for that. Appreciate it. Awesome. Right, so how do we get there? Fuel weight balance. So here we are. We're cruising along quite nicely in the ZIBO mod. You can see, look at our fuel burn going down. So burning about 1 kilo every couple of seconds or so, which is completely normal. The fuel burn in the ZIBO mod is very much similar to what I'd expect. The payload is obviously fixed unless people are jumping out of the door, and you'll notice the CG will shift ever so slightly. The zero fuel weight CG should change. It's not change because the fuel burn's going down, but you'll see that your gross weight CG and our landing CG, well, that should be pretty much fixed as well. So on the second page we discussed the different zones, but this is what's really nice to see is this CG envelope. Now, ZIBO has modelled this off some Boeing data. He created it, I think, yesterday, and I think it'll be now available publicly after this stream, or it might be live now. Hopefully it's live now, so you guys can start using it. And we have here a very kind of well-known diagram in commercial aviation. It's kind of like the CFG envelope. Now, your CFG is based typically off your mean aerodynamic chord, which is the position of that in the wing, and then it's a percentage based off the leg fit. But if you consider that 0 is the front of the aircraft and 40 is the rear of the aircraft, let's imagine the nose is here and the tail's here. We need to ensure that when the aircraft is loaded, all of this is within these parameters here. Now, if you're outside of these parameters, you cannot fly. You cannot take off safely. And that would be that either of these parameters. So even if your landing weight's out there, you need to redistribute the load prior to departure. But most importantly for departure, we're looking at the zero fuel weight and the gross weight there. Now, let's say we don't have a full aircraft. Generally, it's only an issue if the aircraft isn't full. We have a lot of passengers either sat at the front or the rear. That's when the limits are an issue. When the aircraft's fully loaded, it's very rarely an issue because we take 84 kilos as a standard weight for every single passenger. Now, if the CG is quite far forward, that's these plus signs are kind of moving towards the front here. In the day-to-day job, whenever these limits are within these lines, you won't notice anything. You engage the autopilot typically at 1,000 feet when you're hand flying, disconnects. You won't notice that the CG is close to the aft or forward limits. If they're outside the limits, you could run into difficulties. Okay. Now, centre of gravity. That's really important to know what the centre of gravity is. The centre of gravity is basically the point on the aircraft where the weight of the aircraft acts through. So let's go external here. Turn one down. There we are. Hopefully you can hear me a little bit clearer. So let's look at the 737. The CFG right now is roughly where the mouse pointer is, I think. And when the aircraft turns or pitches or rolls, it's rotating around the position of the centre of gravity. And those centre of gravity run across what we call axes. So you have the longitudinal axis, which runs from the nose to the tail, and that's obviously roll. It's rotating around the longitudinal axis. And then you have your lateral axis, which is from wingtip to wingtip. That's your pitch. And then you have your normal axis, which is this way. That's yaw. And all of those points intersect at the centre of gravity. That's where the whole entire weight or mass of the aircraft is acting through. And it's really important that CFG isn't too far forward or too far aft, because you can have some stability or controllability issues. Now, if the CFG is quite far forward, okay, so we have all the passengers at the front of the airplane, no passengers at the rear, that increases stability. It makes the aircraft less likely to change from its equilibrium. But it can reduce manoeuvrability, so controls can become heavier. Now again, as I said, on day-to-day life and operating a 737, you won't really notice that because on departure your trim will be set accordingly to ensure that you have sufficient control. Now, if we have an aft CFG, let's imagine we have all the passengers at the rear and no one at the front, that really decreases stability. So you'll find that if you are outside of your limits and the aircraft pitched up, and then you let go of the controls, it might continue pitching up. It's very unstable. It wants to keep moving. It lacks stability there. You do have increased manoeuvrability, so the controls become very, very light. But the idea is you stay within these limits at all times, so you don't have any of these associated issues. So too much forward stability, you can have very heavy controls. Too much rear CG. Sorry, your rear CG. You're going to have too much manoeuvrability. It's going to make the aircraft quite unstable and difficult to control in certain situations. Now, when a manufacturer makes the airplane like Boeing, they predefine these limits, and the operator then measures the weight of the aircraft when they deliver it, and they just write this for each individual aircraft, and then we just have to operate it to make sure it's in the box. That's essentially it. That's a real kind of like a basic crash course, shouldn't use that term really, crash course guidance on how that works. Okay, very briefly, and I might have missed some steps, there's things I've probably missed, but in a nutshell, that's roughly why it's really important to ensure that everything's in that envelope. Now, from a day-to-day operation, each sector, you know, we're not really checking this table every flight. We're punching the numbers into the OPT, and if it's happy, it accepts it. If it's not happy, there's these limits out of place. We just move stuff around. We move either passengers, move cargo, to make sure we're in limits, and we cannot go until everything is good. That's it. I'll have to try and timestamp this stream, so if anyone's watching this to have a lesson, they'll at least be able to catch the bits when we're talking about this. So I hope it all makes a bit of sense anyway. David Smith, what happens if you have a massive queue at the toilets? Well, it's nothing to really worry about on aircraft this sort of size. Christopher Elkin, double click the pen holder to attach the Avi tab again. Yes, I did know about that one, so I know now that... Oh, where was it? I can press that. You can do that to quickly get it there. There you go. I know that one. Very, very good. Terrence Shine, hello from Ireland. Top of the morning to you. Although it's the evening to you, but I'm morning in the sim. That's my Irish exhausted. Oh, dearie me. ETA 2216. I guess that's what whatever that thing's called, Project Fly's saying. Yeah, this will be a little bit more accurate. 10:30. Now, I'm going to give ourselves some shortcuts anyway. I don't want to do this full approach because it's unlikely that you'd fly it anyway. We've got a sort of a wiggly way in today, following the stars. You can see, look, we go towards Roxham, then northwest towards these RNAV points, then back towards the ILS. I think what we'll do, we'll go Roxham direct to Valpy, whatever that's pronounced, Valpu, which would be a kind of typical clearance if it wasn't too busy. And that's what I'd plan in the FMC, certainly, anyway. There we are, right over the North Sea overhead of Vaxit as well. We've made excellent progress. Here is Oslo up ahead. Andy Black, hello from Florida. Very good afternoon to you there. Listerman responding to Tyrek Cox. He can't respond to everyone and do a stream and explain things. Quite right, and I'm sorry if I missed your question, Tyrek Cox. I will stream up. You're only reading some people's comments. Yes, they do come thick and fast at some point. At some points here. I'm running a few things here. It's not cool, is it, Tyrek Cox? I'm sorry. I'm trying to be a little cooler and to read all those comments. Oh dear. Right, anyway, I think it's about time we start talking about our approach and descent. 177 miles to go. Let's fire up some charts. Echo November Golf Mike. Large international airport, Oslo Gardermoen. I think it's pronounced Gardermoen. There we are. Heathrow shaped. What approach are we flying today? Are we going for an autoland? Are we doing ILS? Are we going RNAV? Are we doing a raw data ILS? Let me know. We've got all sorts of approaches available here. I'm going to look at my work iPad. We've got ILS, we've got VOR, we've got GNSS RNAV approaches. So we'll do whatever you would like. In that case, I better do a straw poll. Now, why on earth didn't I do this for? Visual approach, yes. Alright, I'm going to do a straw poll quickly, guys, because we are a democratic channel. I do not dictate what we do. You know, we're not an authoritarian channel. You guys to choose what we need to do. That's unfortunately how I ended up flying in the Airbus last week. I asked the members, what do you want me to do, Airbus or ZIBO mod? They all went Airbus, so I was like, damn you. So what approach into Oslo? So we're going to go ILS. ILS Cat 3 RNAV, GNSS, ILS raw data, VOR, and oh my goodness, I can't say no to whoever that was. Thank you very much to Craig. You've just bought a mug. Thank you very much, Craig. You enjoy many a brew from that. I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Very, very, very kind of you. My goodness, a lot of merchandise shifted today. ILS Cat 3, RNAV, GNSS, ILS raw data, VOR, visual. So I want a visual approach. What other suggestions we got coming in here? ILS sidestep. That'd be very unusual to do here, Brian, because the runways are very wide apart. But we've never done a sidestep approach, have we? Don't have PAR, John Doe. RNAV, VR. Right, I've given some choices. LPV is sort of the same as an RNAV approach. Right, we'll make it allow multiple choices, no, create poll. Okay, there we are. It's now 21:35. Give you until 45, 10 minutes, okay? And if you haven't decided by, well, if before then it looks quite obvious what we're going to be doing, we'll decide to do that and we'll go from there. Steve G1927, what is an ILS raw data? It's flying an ILS, but with no guidance, no flight directors, so just picture power, probably the most challenging aspect of doing that in the landing circle to land fleet. I mean, they do give you the minimums for a circling approach. Alright, do you want me to put... I can't add circling. If you really want me to do circling, I would, but you never do a circling approach into an airport like this. Benjamin Vaughan, thank you very much for the £2 donation. Just did a day trip to Oslo last week. Keep it up. Well, you should have stayed, Benjamin. I could have given you a lift. Or from Birmingham, anyway. Thank you very much there for the donation. I hope you had a great time in Oslo. I'm actually yet to visit there. Cool. Yeah, it's been a while since we've done a circle, though, isn't it? We should probably do a circle to land soon. There's the Calvi approach that's been requested quite a few times. Might do that. I posted a link anyway in the chat, so feel free to use that, and I'll take a look at the results in about 9 minutes. How's a FPV, Flight Perfector, Flyboy 97? Do you use the Flight Perfector? No, I don't, generally. That shows you kind of like where the aircraft is going. So you see the wind's coming from the left, it's pointing us here to the right. And you can see, look, we're level, so the FPV is right on the horizon. It's quite useful for flying straight and level. If you want to be level, just put the FPV on the horizon, and you should be level there. Captain Flint, what airline do you fly for as a captain? I need to set Discord up to answer this. I don't answer that publicly. Most of you might be able to have a good educated guess, but it's something I just don't discuss. Publicly, my operator does know what I'm up to, and they give me free will to do as I wish. I could even tell you if I wanted to, but to respect my privacy, I don't tell anyone who my name is, who I work for, and that's exactly how I like it. Right, let's have a look at the votes and see how it's going. Let's refresh the page. After 104 votes, most popular at the moment is RNAV GNSS, streaking ahead. 24% of the vote. Right, well, I'll keep an eye on that. Tim, did you manage to get your drone license card sorted? Yes, useless, absolutely useless. I mean, you saw on Discord what they did, you know. I could go and fly it now at least. I've got all the stickers, and I know I could have printed them off myself, but it would have been a cracking day to do it. I've been so busy. My entire afternoon was spent setting this stream up, making sure that well, not setting the stream up, but it was testing the mod to make sure the OPT and CFG was working correctly. There's a few little bugs on it, hence why we got to version, what are we on now? 3.395H, but credit to ZIBO, you know, he kept at it until all the bugs were kind of squished, and they were very minor bugs, mostly associated with numbers and figures and stuff. That guy is incredible. Actually, sure looks fixed to me. What are you on about? You've got your face, I think, Tim. Tim, I hope you're well. I haven't heard from you for a while. Timothy Waters, that is. You have been quiet on Discord. James MP, would you ever want to do flights to calibrate nav aids? Not really. I don't even know what that involves. we'll see what the votes say, and we'll go from there. Martin, hello flight notes in. Quick question, just started my ATPL flight training. How difficult did you find a radio communication? Did you use any on ground to help you remember what to say? Martin, I don't know where you're doing your flight training. CAP 413, Google CAP 413 to kind of like get the UK CAA manual on radio navigation. That's kind of like the main resource, and I think if you look on the CAA website, they have some quite useful documents, little kind of brochures and leaflets to kind of get you the basics and stuff. I'd 100% recommend that. Figmantic, throw in a curveball, do a landing gear failure, so you have to learn them from the manual panel thingy on the cockpit floor. I mean, the manual gear extension handles. You know what, I've kind of contemplated about doing failures in stream, because we did have an engine failure, and now we're off that sim, it gives me a little bit more flexibility. You know, it's quite hard to kind of script a failure, because you know it's going to happen. What I could do is put the X-Plane 11 random failures back on, so it could happen at any point. That did happen on one of the earlier streams, remember? The Zurich Stanza stream where the engine failed, and the language coming out of my mouth was abhorrent. Let's say it wasn't ideal, but no, we might do that. We might do that, but I'm not gonna pre-plan a failure, because that's not incredibly realistic. Longcat random failures would be fun, I'm hearing you. Anthony Teal, $10, thank you very much, Anthony, for the continued support as a member and the donation. Careful on this landing, boss, I hear there are a lot of pine trees in Norway. Is that a little remark to my Innsbruck stream, where most of my left wingtip ended up in the forest? Thank you very much, Anthony. I know there's a lot of trees around here, and we have a habit on certain approaches of clipping trees, but I have no plans on doing that anyway. List of make a straw poll with our favourite failures. Good idea, perhaps. I'll think about it. I'll have a chat with the guys at Discord. Right, anyway, I better look at this straw poll anyway, because we're approaching top of descent, 124 miles. Let's refresh the page and go from there. Martin, thank you very much for returning as a member. Appreciate all the support there. You see you've got the 4 stripes. I have no issues with anyone that wants to leave and come back. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you get back into Discord as soon as possible and catch up. Welcome on board. Again. Cool. Right, let's refresh the poll. Show results. Oh, it's tight. Oh, it's ILS raw data running ahead now. Oh, 2 extra votes in RNAV GNSS. We'll run it until, what did I say, 45. Plain ILS that was definitely not requested. It's a very tight one, look at that. ILS, raw data, RNAV, GNSS and visual approach, there's only about 4 votes in it. Crikey, we'll make the vote, guys. We'll close the poll at 45 and we'll go from there. Crikey. Oh, not raw data, I don't want to do raw data. Oh no, I'd love to do a raw data. David Smith, that single engine failure was my favourite so far. I nearly deleted that because of my language. Mike, vote link again. You've got 2 minutes until the vote closes. I'm reposting it into the chat. There you are. So if you just joined the stream, there we are. Place your votes. Now, the vote will close in 2 minutes at time 45. Dominic Whittaker, how do you become a member? I don't know how you're watching this. I think on a mobile device you're unable to join. You'll need a desktop, and joining as a member, it's £5 a month. For that you get a little bit more exclusive insight to my day-to-day role as a captain, exclusive content, kind of doing a few things there additionally for the members, and ability to be able to basically talk to me whenever you wish. Agent, raw data ILS is too easy. No, it's not. Raw data is one of the most challenging aspects of the type rating. It's pretty tough. Don't do it routinely, you see, so it's important that you know how to do it then. Right, what's the time? 43 still, 44 minutes ago. I'll refresh it again. Oh, look at, oh, it's going to be the raw data. Damn you guys. Always making me sweat, you lot. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be that. Officials drop down a bit. Thank you to the 6 people that tried to make my life very easy and getting me just to do a plain old ILS with flight directors. I appreciate that. Oh, crikey. Oh, it's going to be a crash course on the raw data ILS, I think. good. Right, so that is set. Oh, apologies, I was just checking something there. So it's 45. I'll refresh it one more time. So ILS raw data, it has got, thank you very much for everyone that voted as well. 10 minutes old, and 54 votes for the ILS raw data, 186 votes in total. 4 votes in it between that and an RNAV GNSS. We could extend the votage. No, it's going to be the raw data. Well, we've done it once. Daniel, so if you voted for raw data, you're welcome, boss. Sunglasses emoji. Damn you. Right, we'll set up. It's the same setup as an ILS, guys. But what we'll do, we'll level off at the platform altitude, disconnect the automation, and turn off the flight directors. And we'll use the kind of pitch and power settings, which are kind of similar to me. It's going to be visual as well, so it's not going to be as hard as it would be. You know, when we do the raw data in reality, we go IMC. You have to do it in IMC conditions for your license skills test. So I can have that added guidance. Well, I guess it's I think it's Cav OK there anyway. Let's have a look at the weather in Oslo. What is the wind? 2302 knots, 2103. Oh, so it might even be runway 01. Well, it's a 3 knot wind. I think we'll stick with runway 01 anyway. Cav OK, -2. Very cold there, so we'd have to make cold temperature corrections, but I won't actually bother doing that because I don't think it's simulated in X-Plane 11. So, right, let's have a look at this approach. Now, to make this a little bit easier, we'll imagine, as it is in the desktop simulator, it's incredibly quiet. And I'd expect this clearance, but I've had it before going, not into Oslo, but into Copenhagen. I've had clearances 120 miles away, something like, yeah, broadsword 0 on after Roxim direct to Valpa, you know, #1, high speed approved. That's not uncommon to get those sort of clearances. So what I'm going to do is go direct to Roxim now, and then after Roxim we're going to go direct to Valpu. I should shorten the flight time a little bit, so I had 30 before to 26 now with that headwind. And then we'll go via Valpu. 4,000, 5,000. Zeman is 3,500, which is the platform. So we're going to get level at 3,500. Then we'll disconnect everything, and then insert the ILS there. We won't do a CDA. Let's say we're going to level off at this platform altitude and go from there. So we'll need star chart. Get the star chart anyway.
50, 40,
thank you.
30,
Why is that
20,
not working? Very much to
10.
the donation. Benjamin Vaughan, thank you again. £2. Do L3 offer modular training? If so, might it be viable? I have no idea if the L3 training school offers modular training. I should think they do, Benjamin. Your friend Google would be the best one to answer that. I'm not well versed in current training schedules or which training schools offer what courses, I'm afraid. But best luck online. Thank you very much anyway, Benjamin, nonetheless. And no matter what course you choose, best of luck with your training. Right. So we need arrival. We're going to be flying a Ripam 3 Lima, or partially flying a Ripam 3 Lima. Did I say that? What did it say that for? Ripam 3 Lima. Why? Oh, it's right there, right in front of me. We then need ILS runway 01 right. And then I need to reassign my views here slightly because it all looks a bit off. There we go. Let's do that for the new view. And then we need the airport chart just for taxi as well. We'll just taxi onto the closest stand. Right, so it's all there. Okie dokie. So, because the sun's on the iPad, it looks really bright. I think I might move this. You didn't show me how to do it earlier. There we go. So you can see, look, it's really, really white, but if I move it over here, that means the sun doesn't reflect on the iPad. It's a little bit easier to read. So, prior to the stream, now the iPad's in the way of the FMC. Descent page, we're going to put 250 below 100. Execute. Forecast winds, I pre-populated. QNH is 103T. Fixed rings, runway 01 right. Not sure what they're using in real life. I'm going to just stick with this runway because it's kind of straight in approach. 10 and 4 mile ring. Our height is 37,000 feet, so 4812. 111. 3 times your height is this. That's roughly where top of descent should be if you look on the map page. There you go. So that's all set. The ILS approach then. We'll just check the routing first. So we remember we're routing direct to Ripham. Then from Ripham, I've gone direct to Valpo, which would be a typical clearance if it was quiet. So you can see in the legs page. No, what am I doing? Roxim Valpo. Sorry, routing direct to Roxim and then to Valpo. So kind of cutting the corner here, which yeah would be quite typical if it was quiet. What else does it mention? It talks about. I'll tell you what, guys, this is getting a bit cumbersome. So let's do this. Do this. That's a little bit better, isn't it? So what else does it mention here on this chart? Why is that not expanded? Oh, I'm having issues there. There we are. So talks about on-nav approach. We're doing it to a raw data ILS. There's restrictions of speed. 220 knots. We'll start bringing the speed back prior to localizer captions. That's fine. Merging point is Valpo. Expected star routing. Follow clearance on expected start until initial approach fix. Start approach till assistant runway. That's if you lose communications, which we won't have an issue with today. So yeah, pretty simple star. If you haven't got your clearance, if it's busy, you're going to go north and eventually hold at Valpo, which we're not doing. ILS approach then. Important stuff to get in is the frequencies 11195. No, hold on. I need to change this to ILS. That's another thing we need to do, is a GLS approach. We haven't done that yet. 11195, that is active. What VORs do we have available? We've got the Gardermoen VOR, let's stick that up because that is what the missed approach I think is based off. ONE, no, it's based off DLS. It's not based off the Gardermoen VOR, but we'll tune it anyway. 1595 on standby. Oh dear, I need to go back to work. I forgot how to put all this stuff in. 1595. It's set. Course 013. It's set. excuse me, 013 is set. 4 miles, height check 1957. MSA. High terrain then to the north, so if we lose our situational awareness, not sure where the train is, we'll climb up to 4,000 feet within 25 miles of the Gardermoen VOR. Hit anything. ILS is quite straightforward. From Valpo then we'll self-position, we'll step down to 3,500. Zemen will be level at this point, so we'll intercept the glide slope of 3,500 feet level flight. We should do that in 8.9 TME. Down we go. Our approach speed about 140 knots initially, so we'll be wanting to do around probably 900 feet per minute initially, and we can figure our target rate of descent will be around 743. Again, I'm going to post a link to the I have a raw data ILS tutorial which I did years ago in the PMDG. Now usually all this we would then temperature correct because it's below freezing down there, 0, but it's not modelled, so I'm just going to set this straight away. We probably had about 20-30 feet to this minimum in real life. That is because the altimeter is a very simple instrument, just measures off barometric pressure, and it's prone to temperature error, so it's very dangerous when it's cold because an altimeter overreads. So if it says you're at 2,000 feet, you're not going to be at 2,000 feet, you're going to be around 1,800. When it gets really cold, minus 30, minus 40 temperatures, there's a severe error. You really have to add a lot of height to all your clearances, otherwise you're going to hit something. Cold temperature, very dangerous. So you have to. We have a table where we add anything that's below the MSA and add that to the clearance, cleared altitude, to ensure that the automation VNAV in particular doesn't get low on a non-precision approach. So that's all set. Circle to land. You could do that, but we're going to do the raw data via Valpo. Landing on 01 right. 2950 meters, no displace threshold. I think we'll just go flat 30, order break 3. We'll go for Bravo 5, Bravo 6, and then we'll just taxi straight ahead onto a stand. No VATSIM, we'll just go, reroute ourselves, essentially. And we'll take reference on that chart anyway to make sure what goes on. That's it. So it's all set up, ready to go. Minimums are set. QNH, we need to preset as well, which I forgot what it was. 1032, and I will get back to the chat and answer any questions if you have it. So that is set. You can preset it here as well. Still very high pressure. Not as high over the as it was over the UK. That was crazy. 1,050 hectopascals, unbelievable. Right, so all good. When we get a bit closer, I'll start explaining how we kind of fly a raw data approach. I will just link you now if you are interested on the raw data ILS tutorial, which I could do with watching actually before flying this approach. Just kind of cover, you know, what it is, what I'm looking for on the approach. It's quite useful. Why am I not seeing anything at the moment? There we are, raw data ILS tutorial. We can share this. There we are. August 2017, nearly 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago I made this tutorial. Crazy. Well, my internet is absolutely slow as anything. Right, copy the link. There you are. So if you are interested in seeing how, what I'll be applying during this rolling, or trying to remember, that's what it is. You'll find it just there. Right, that's it. Descent checklist would come up next. So pressurization is set. Anti-ice is off, not required. Approach briefing fuel. Arriving at 2.8 tons. I think we need 2.4 to get to our alternate Oslo torp. So about 10-15 minutes of holding, and then our bugs are all set. Now our descent checks are complete. What's the fuel burn been like? ZIBO actually wanted me to check the fuel burn a couple of days ago, but I think we're bang on. The flight model's been, I haven't even mentioned once, Tim, or Twerkster, who's known on the Explain forums, he's the man or brains behind the flight model of the ZIBO mod. He's updated this. We're on 4.1 now. I think there's only been subtle changes, but I think it works just as well as it did before. But I wanted to check the fuel burn. But I deleted all the waypoints. Well, where would we be flying close to now? M1 1 hour 23. I can barely read that. 1 hour 23 into the flight. Let's have a look. We'd be going close to. There's no waypoints here. Only after top of descent. So I've not been able to check it really. But look, top of descent, we should have about 2.9 tons. We've got 3.6. So it's probably not burning as much fuel as we need. But did I take any extra? I can't remember. Hour 34, hour 24, but we have taken some shortcuts. 4.7, I'd expect to have been about 4.4-ish tons. We burnt about 4.1. Maybe we're saving a little bit too much fuel, I'm not sure. But I've not been accurately keeping track of that, but I think we're still okay. Maybe a little bit more fuel should have been burnt. But that kind of doesn't make sense because our arrival fuel is 2.8. I don't know. I have not really been assessing it. Perfect. Captain Finner, may I ask, have you ever flown the 737 MAX? I haven't. Sandy, since you guessed the viewer count at touchdown, it usually goes up a little bit. What are we at the moment? 600 or so. Yeah, that's quite good. Pretty happy with that. Welcome on board. And if you haven't done so already, I'm a YouTube streamer. Don't forget to punch the thumbs up like button. That's the way we do things. Blue Nexus. Hi, Captain. I've been meaning to ask this for a while. How do you get home after work? I drive. I drive my car. Mattia, I've been always wondering, how does a pilot feel when he flies as a passenger? Does a pilot know by just looking at the wings, flaps and by edges out what's going on in the cockpit? Not really, Matteo. I kind of switch off these days as a passenger, you'll be pleased to hear, and just let the guys do their job. Sometimes if it's doing something, I remember flying on a Flybe flight last summer, and they all of a sudden they powered up the thrust quite hard whilst turning final, and I did actually go, oh, why are they doing that? Is it because they weren't watching the speed? It did make me go a bit nervous actually, but yeah, generally I let them into it. Cole Sangri, as ever, very generous, $25. No message today, thanks for the great stream. Well, Cole, thank you anyway, again, for your absolute dedication and continued support and donations. Really off the scale, not needed. I hope you're well, as ever, and keep us updated on Discord. I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you indeed there, Cole. Very, very kind. I always, when the members, I'm very, I'm lost for words, as you can tell, with the generosity all of you show. You know, I stream as enjoyment. I do put a lot of time and effort in here, and it is nice to get a little bit back on that feedback. You know, even today, from about 1 o'clock until now, I've been on the PC all day. My partner was trying to strangle me, which she's been fine, but it's nice to get recognition. Thank you, Carl. Not needed by anyone, though. Absolutely not. Please enjoy what you're seeing. If you so wish not to donate, that's completely fine. 2 tons of love, Alpaca Uber. We've gone to Alpaca chat. For those of you who are new to the stream, there is a sort of an alpaca theme amongst the channel. That's because on Discord I did share a picture of myself many months ago, and with the group, and it happened to be with an alpaca. I was walking alpacas with my partner, and ever since the alpaca theme has remained. As Thomas is posting the emoji, we are thinking of launching a virtual airline called Alpaca Airways. So that's the reasoning behind. Oh yeah, you like the alpaca emojis? I noticed, Greg and Thomas. Yes, as upon a request, I managed to be able to unlock another emoji due to increase of members, which was quite cool. Right, approaching top of descent. 7 miles to go. When you get to 5 miles, you'll get a message from the FMC telling you to reset MCP altitude. There it is. And we now request descent from ATC. And let's go straight down to what we got, Roxim 120. That would be a good place to start. And this will allow the aircraft to automatically commence descent. I'm just going to temporarily delete Roxim because I want to see what altitude we're going to be at. 128, that's fine. That's the only way to see where VNAV is going to put you. Yeah, 133, that is so good, ZIBO. It's so good because it's taking the speed restriction into account. So we should be passing Roxim at flight level 133. Obviously, you only see the restriction there. So that restriction doesn't put us out of profile. Dougal McTavish, thank you for answering many questions. I appreciate anyone that helps answer any questions that people have in the chat, especially the members, especially the moderators now as well. So I appreciate that because the workload does get high and I can't see all of them. A lot of the people answering questions to any of your queries, you know, they're very knowledgeable on their maps. You know, have some flying experience themselves. David Swift, don't forget the VSD. Yes, I even wrote that down, but now we're doing a raw data. The VSD is going to take up most of my ND, which is really annoying because I'm going to be using this quite a bit on the raw data. Oh, I've got to request that guy's wishes though. It just adds to the challenge. Emrita, order brakes, you're right. We did say flat 30, order brake 3. We would have obviously independently cross-checked that. We're burning 600 kilos. Look at that, landing weight exactly 60 tons. That tells me I should roughly need around 57-60% N1 on final with flat 30. It's quite useful to have these figures for raw data. The Pie Train, can you fly a Boeing A370? I have no idea what one of those are, so I'm guessing that is a theatrical aircraft of some sort. I've never heard of it. I can't even fly an Airbus, so. 2 tons of love. Thank you for the donation earlier as well. Do you get N1 variants with differences in engine age? If so, how much offset throttle is tolerated before put on maintenance check? Very good question. N1 doesn't really vary much. They are matched by the auto throttle system, but you'll notice the EGT difference. But sometimes you do get a split in the thrust levers. And there is a tolerance. Off the top of my head, I have absolutely no idea what that is. It'll be noted in the tech log, and the tolerance is quite small, so there could be a slight split in the thrust levers, but I don't think it could be perhaps any more than that. A bit of asymmetric thrust there, you won't notice much difference. And you can see that the auto throttle's already adjusting, and then it's fixed it, which is really cool. We've got to FMC speed, because I guess our speed dropped off a little bit off our target speed. Thank you very much to Patrick Mason, who's just joined the channel as a member. Thank you very much for the dedicated support. I hope you enjoy the members-only content as well. Thank you very much. We've not even been looking outside much today. Look at this lovely weather and lovely scenery. Absolutely no idea where we are. Not been paying attention to these sort of things. Let's try and impress you with my Norwegian. We are directly overhead. What's this place here? Nowhere. What's the nearest town village? We're going
40,
over
30,
shortly.
10.
Poulsgrunn, I can admit I've never been to Pause Grund, but that is where we are routing right now. Airport-wise, that's what I'd be looking at. Torp, Oslo Torp, I recognise that. That's all we're worried about, is where are the airports, where's the terrain and mountains. Blind 1995, thank you again for the donation, €2.29. I am back, thanks Captain for using the VSD. Oh no, I better turn it back on as I didn't turn it off. I did remember that is going to be a bane now, because we're doing a raw data ILS, but I will keep with your request and keep the VSD on there. You did pay for it technically, thank you very much. Match day with Max, how do you get the Project Fly overlay? Under Project Fly settings, I do pay £5 a month or whatever it is to allow for the overlay. I think you get it for free, but a very basic version. But yeah, it's through the Project Fly app. So it looks like VNav is okay. It's roughly holding its speed, but that's very, very good. There can be slight variations in reality. Sometimes it doesn't hold the speed as well. You know, ZIBO has a pretty good idle path calculation now. So typically at my operator, we don't turn the VSD on until after the approach checklists are complete. So you wouldn't have it on at this stage, but I'll leave it on because I will forget. Guys, Customs, are you a real 737 pilot? Yes, I'm a captain for a European operator. Though it would appear that many comments on my Airbus stream would be people were led to believe not. I got some really funny comments on that video. Well, I did mention at the start, someone commented, how can you be a 737 pilot when you sound like that? I was like, and I replied, how should I sound? I'm still waiting for the response in return. There was another one as well, I can't remember what it was. I don't generally reply to many, sometimes I do. And to be fair, you know, I don't have any real factual proof. I've been doing quite well for having a channel almost 3 years and pretending to be a pilot, if it was the case. I can't remember what the other comment was, but it was quite interesting. Ben Harper, does your company operate the 737-300s? No longer, no longer. Carl, very good. Angular bank 25 degrees. Yes, we do that passing below 30,000 feet. Very good. Clouds are looking lovely. Pilot boy, why can't I speed intervene or intervent in VNav? It just deselects VNav. Yes, well, if you select speed intervent, it disengages VNav path and goes for VNav speed. Now the aircraft is pitching for this speed and no longer really cares for the path. So it will on approach, but not at this stage. So generally leave it VNav path. Use level change if you want to change speed, or you can use VNav speed as well. Looking very nice. Oh, I don't like having the VSD on, guys. I'll leave it. Daniel Swift, so above flight level 300 bank angle 10 and below 300 bank angle 25, you say yes, and I finally know the correct way to set it. Yes, Daniel, that's exactly what we do. And remember, that's only when you're using heading select will it comply with this. So you might set 10 degrees above 30,000 feet. LNAV will happily bank over that. That's completely fine, but we want to make sure when we're in a heading that it doesn't bank to whatever this is. And heading select's very simple. It'll just go, okay, turn 25 degrees regardless. And if you're quite high, high bank angles, high altitude, when you're quite performance limited, can be quite dangerous. So you don't want to we limit it to 10 degrees in heading selects at higher altitudes. Lovely. So you can see the speed is dropping off slightly. Again, the aircraft's quite good at holding that target speed, but you do have days where it doesn't quite match. And if that's the case, just add a bit of thrust. That's completely normal. I have to do this
50,
routinely on the line.
40, 30,
So you can add a bit of
40,
thrust. If you think, oh, the
10.
ZIBO mod's broken, it's not, that's fine. Someone sent me a message regarding another streamer the other day who was on the approach, and the thrust increased a lot or something. And he said they were, I don't know who the streamer was, but he sent a screenshot of the PFD and the engines, and he was like, if the thrust increases a lot on approach, is that normal? Well, it is. If you're in really windy conditions and your wind changes, you can expect the autothrottle to fight that. You can have quite a large variation in thrust. So it's completely normal to have to override the autothrottle in the 737. It's, I guess, not quite as good as the Airbus one, but certainly in gusty, windy conditions on approach, the pilot flying has his hand on this is having to often override the auto throttle or quickly add thrust. Because the auto throttle system isn't adding the thrust quick enough, so it's quite common to do. On a day like this, not likely. But the wind is quite strong up here, but it will reduce because the wind is pretty much calm down on the ground in Oslo. Can you spot Ento from the FOC? It says toxic and timers. Let's have a look. It is just passing over, isn't it, to our right hand side? I didn't see it on the ND. I can't see anything. You guys probably fished it out better. It's quite easy to spot runways here. Perhaps the passenger will have a better view. Oh, look at that lovely little bit of cloud there. Torp's out there somewhere. I know we passed off to the right, didn't we? I'm not sure. Yeah, it's about 20 miles away. I can't quite see it, I'm afraid. So the scenery is looking good. Right, going to 15,000 feet, seatbelt sign can come on. We're approaching the first waypoint on the approach. No, not chance, it's at the airport. Rocks him, so we'll get the speed reduced to 250 knots, which VNAV should deal with. You're approaching the decel point here. I kind of like leaving it to do VNAV because it allows me to kind of assess if the mod's having any issues, but it's doing a fantastic job, really is. Devoid, is there a procedure for an EFIS failure, such as screens not working? Yes, if the panel fails, you can switch to the other panel, so it's only using the other one there, so you use the control panel switch there. So control panel switch, you can let only one EFIS display all the panels, but that means you can't have different pages on either side. Yeah, it is possible. Right, so the aircraft's pitching up now to decel to 250. That's all looking good at Roxim. Then we'll step down now to 5,000 feet for the next altitude as well. So we're pushing 5,000 feet and the QNH. Now, interestingly, we have put the QNH of 1032 in here. So when I set this, we shouldn't have any change in VNAV. We are doing... So this isn't quite correct. If you put the QNH here, it should allow for that in the VNAV calculation. I need to mention that to ZIBO. The VNAV path profile isn't taking the QNH into assessment, so you can see, look, because we're now high, it's having to dive. So we're going to go level change 250, just so we don't go too fast past the speed restriction, and I might just use a tad of speed brake to get ourselves back onto profile. But yeah, it should take that into account, the VNAV path, and not dive. It should keep us on profile because we preset the QNH there. QNH is set now anyway, 1032, passing 13,000. 300 for 5,000 feet, and the standby altimeter is set 250 knots. Just using a little bit of speed brake just to get back onto VNAV. We'll go from there. Marvin Brooks just joined as a member. Thank you very much for joining the channel. I hope you enjoy the members only content, all revolved around the members only Discord. Thank you very much for the support there, and welcome. Lovely. Right, so back on profile, get VNAV back in and stow the speed brake. A little bit of a cloud in the Ortho 4XP, unfortunately. But otherwise, looking good. Is that a power line? Yes. That's so cool how the power line's there. They've actually got the Ortho kind of like cut where all the vegetation's cut down. That's really cool. Oh, Flight Sim, I think you missed the last donation. Sorry, Tom. Tom Knudsen, I missed that. What do you use station and position for on the EFIS? Tom, sorry about that. I don't know what I was doing. Too busy there. Station shows you all the VORs, TACANs available. Don't really generally use it. And oh, what was the other one I just said as well? Position. It probably isn't modelled very accurately. No. If you push position, it shows you on the nav display where all the predicted positions are based off your IRS position, your GPS position, half the others off the top of my head I can't remember, but I don't think that's modelled, and it doesn't really need to be modelled because, you know, we don't have any navigational issues in a desktop simulator, but IRS obviously over time it drifts. It does need realigning after a few hours as well on the ground if you're doing a very long day. But yeah, that's what we use it for. Sorry, Tom, I missed that, and I'll try and get you a bit more information back on Discord if you remind me answer the question. Callum Noble, what's the worst in real life landing you've ever done? One does spring to mind in Fuerteventura when I was line training. Let's say that the landing rate plugin would not be flashing yellow, green. It was definitely amber or red. It bounced. I was training. I'm happy to admit it. You know, you training, you learn at some point, but it was certainly a hard one. I kept the flight deck door closed as the line training captain to keep it closed. But you've got to start somewhere, and everyone that's ever flown a 737, they're lying when they say they haven't landed it hard. They have. Absolutely, Anthony, it was braced for those passengers. Right, let's do the post-cruise checks. Fuel 4 pumps, lights, come on. Logos, APUs off, pressurization. Set seatbelts on, recall, there we are. Pre-cruise checks are complete. Yes, no butter, absolutely. Stuart Payne, thank you very much for the donation, £1.99. Excellent explanations as always, Flying Exit. You're most welcome, Stuart. I'm glad you enjoyed the content. Thank you very much for the donation there. Perfect, so we're going down to 5,000 in VNAV. Obviously, you know we took that shortcut direct to Valpo. That is quite typical for an approach if it's quiet. And from Valpo, from 5,000, we're going to go down to 4,000, and then we're going to level off at 3,500 feet here, and then intercept the ILS there. So what I might do, just to make sure that we're level, is go 3,500 feet. I'm going to go level change, and we're not going to do a CDA today, guys, because I'm going to do this raw data from a kind of a platform altitude. Makes it a little bit easier for me as well, and we'll get ourselves nice and stable earlier. So I'll imagine that Oslo radar has said, okay, broadsword 0 on after Valpo, cleared direct to Oslo, descend to maintain 3,500 feet, cleared ILS approach at 01, right, cool, localizer established. There you go, that's a typical clearance there. Thank you very much to... What did I miss? No, I got the donations in. I'm not good at this. 2 tons of love. Not only did you donate today, I've convinced you enough to become a member as well. Thank you very much for joining as a member. I hope you enjoy all the members only content. 2 tons of love. Appreciate the support there. Stuart Payne coming in with another donation. Thank you very much. You're using one of the infamous YouTube stickers saying #1 fan. That's quite a new thing, I think, but thank you very much, Stuart, for the donation there. Really appreciate that. And you know what's really cool now? It's showing me on the amount of people watching the stream, 737 people. I love that. I'm going to take a print screen of that. Oh, it says 747 now. It's just gone up. Really, really cool, guys. Thank you very much. Right. All making sense. Of course, my busiest period is when it gets quite busy with the donations. I have to say thanks to everyone. Blue News, thank you. Blue Nexus as well. Thank you very much. £5. What's the worst thing that's happened on one of your flights, emergency or otherwise? Well, Blue Nexus, thank you very much. I've not thankfully had anything serious. I've had a few diversions for some reasons. I don't want to go into too much depth about those for personal reasons as well. They do happen, but incredibly rare. Technical wise, with the aircraft, none. They've mostly been associated with passengers feeling a little bit unwell. But yeah, thank you very much for the donation nonetheless. Touch wood, I have nothing else serious either. Right, so localizer's coming. No, sorry, glide slope's coming in now. So approaching 3,500. As soon as we get towards Valpo and start turning, I'll bring the speed back to the up speed, and then we'll start thinking about configuring for the approach. Right, I need to get myself comfortable if I'm doing this raw data. You can see the VSD starting registering the terrain as we get closer to the ground. I'll use a bit of speed brake because I want to get nice and low first. I'm not worried about a CDA today. Turning for the intercept, so I'll bring the speed up to the up speed. David Morrison, thank you very much for the £2 donation. Is this X-Plane 11? Yes, it is. Actually, it doesn't say that in the video description, but if you look at the video, sorry, the video title, if you look at the video description, it does show you which SIN I'm using. Thank you very much, David, for the donation there. Right, do excuse me if I take my attention away from chat, because I will be very shortly obviously configuring and flying this approach. Raw data, which is quite a significant amount of workload increase. It's not following the flight directives. There's going to be nothing for me to follow. I'm going to be using just the glide slope and localizer. I have absolutely no idea how this will go. I don't think I've actually ever done one in in the ZIBO mod, have I? I don't think so. Certainly not on the stream, anyway. Oh, this can only go one way, and that's badly. Oh, it has to... If I land... You know, what was it? London City I managed. 90 feet per minute landing rate? If it's worse than that, that's not going to bode well, is it? Oh, my goodness.
1,000 to go.
Right, approaching the platform. That's going to keep that speed brake out for a little bit longer to bring the speed... I want to get right down to 3,500 feet nice and early, so I can disconnect everything. Actually, I want to get down a lot quicker. Oh, I was a bit late doing this. Ideally, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself. Disconnecting everything, boys. Flight director's off. This is not going to be easy, because not only do I have to fly this approach completely manually, I've got to configure match speed, which is what pilot monitoring would be doing. This is not going to be easy. Right, speed brake can go away. There's 3,500 feet. Right, altitude, level flight, the 737, around 60 tons. You want about 5-ish degrees. That will work out quite nicely. I'm going to go flap 1. I've completely missed the localizer here, and I'm going to add a little bit of thrust, and I've missed the localizer, so I might overfly it. That's okay. Matching the speed. I'm going to go straight to flap 5 as well. Match the speed as well. So that was completely my fault. Overshot the localizer. That's okay. Just keep the turn going. A little bit steep there. And I'm going to go idle thrust. Actually, keep bringing that speed back, but don't overshoot too much. That's going to go wings level now, and that brings the nose up as there's an increase in lift. That's the ZIBO mod is so good, guys. Oh. When you roll wings level, the nose pitches up, and the mod just does that perfectly. Right, 3,500 feet. The altitude, flap 5 level flight at 60 tons, about 5 degrees, 50% or 6 degrees, 60%, roughly around that. Localizer's coming in. We have a track up display here. Okay, the final approach track is 013. Once we're on the localizer, which is coming in now, I'm just going to put that track to 013, which is just about coming in. And we should be going gear down, flap 15 now as well. I'm so busy. That's about 70% level flight, but we're about to intercept the glide slope. That track's good, and there's glide slope capture. I'm actually going to select the landing flap now, a bit early. And it's going to be about 1 degree altitude now and about 57% N1. Oh, the ZIBO mod, I cannot believe how good this is. Right, so the landing flap's good, so I'll try now. I'm going to try now to do the landing checklist. So speed's good. I'm just going to get trimmed up on about 800 feet per minute, about 1 degree. The ZIBO mod is absolutely phenomenal. The pitch and power, the effects of thrust. When you roll the nose, what's the drop? When you level off the wing, the nose comes up. It is just, it twerks through ZIBO. If you're watching this, hats off to you. And guys, you're very generous with the donations. Go and give ZIBO a few quid. I cannot believe how good this is. And I hope you can do it to Tim and Audio Bird XP as well. They've not asked me to do that, by the way. I'm just saying, it's just incredible. Right, I'm going to try and do the landing check this flap. So, start switches continuous, recall checked, speed brake, green light, landing gear, down to degree, order brake is set to 3, flaps, 30 degree light, lights are all on, checks complete. To be fair, the raw data today is not going to be too difficult. It's a beautiful day outside. I've got my target thrust about 57%, which is what I'd expect at 60 tons, which we are today. A little bit low on the glide slope, so just going to pitch up to about 500 feet per minute. If you ever want to practice a raw data, keep everything nice and steady. 500 feet per minute is quite nice to recapture the glide slope. Don't go too aggressive or too much of a pitch up. We're drifting slightly left of centre line. Again, you can see your track there, 011. Our required track is 013, so you are going to drift off. Let's get that to 015, and then we'll slowly drift back in. Doing about 500 feet per minute. Glide slope's coming in quite nicely. And I'm now trimming, because we're not in trim, nose keeps wanting to drop. That's really important to get yourself in trim. Right, there's the localizer back in now, so I'm going to go back onto the track of 013. Remember, I would be doing this in IMC if it was a sim check. You wouldn't be able to see outside. You know, the fact I can see the runway, the pappies, does make it easier. Now, one thing I've not been scanning is my speed. Look at the speed. That's dropped down to VREF. That is not where you want it. VREF is the lowest you can go. And we're going to get back to our target speed. So I'm just adding thrust. That makes the nose come up, so you have to pitch down. That down to 57% now. And re-establishing that attitude. It's always about the attitude. That's the key thing. Where is the nose of the airplane? A little bit high on the rate of descent again. It gets very sensitive as you get closer. So really take your concentration outside now. Again, adding a bit of thrust. I can slowly see that it's creeping back. Get your landing rates in as well. I'm not usually worried about that when I'm processing a raw data. There's absolutely no wind, no excuses. Speed's okay.
Approaching 0, 1,
RAS is confirmed we're on the correct runway. We're on profile slightly left of center line, so a slight turn to the right here. Speed's good, rate of descent's okay, glide slope's okay. I'm looking outside and keep the runway at the same point of the windscreen. That's really, really important. Alright. How many watching? 860 people. Unbelievable. Thank you very much, whoever donated. You are a good man or good lady. I'll say thanks post landing. A little bit hard on the glide slope, so just very slowly pitching down. Nothing aggressive. Looking only outside now. Approaching the minimums. You can tell there's no cold temperature error required.
Minimums.
Continue. Maybe there is actually a bit low. I need to explain if there is cold temperature error. Right. I don't care about the instruments now. Only looking outside. Tad high, 3 whites. No problem at this stage.
50, 40, 30.
Check. Close.
Yeah.
Hold that attitude. Hold that attitude. I'd want to be down by now. Come on. Where are you, runway? Oh, 106, not bad. Speed brakes up. There's your reverses. And we'll go for second D10. There's 100 knots. 80 knots. And 60 knots. There's idle reverse. Cancelling the auto brake. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oslo Garda mode. I think they're 1 hour ahead, so the local time now 26 minutes past 11 here in the evening, 26 minutes past 10 in the sim, or 10 or 24 minutes past 10. Oh, I don't know, I'm going all crazy. Welcome to Oslo Garda mode. Retracting the flaps. Speed brake is up, and we have vacated with the radar off, VSD off, landing lights off, and we'll just taxi in a straight line initially. We'll go find ourselves a stand over here, so we'll get the APU started. I'll do the FO's cleanup items as we drift in. Do not recommend this if you do find yourselves where you are. Look at the stab trim. That's around 8 units. I'd expect it. It's perfect now. The stab trim has been sorted. It is exactly where I'd expect it to be after an approach like that. Maybe a little bit lower, but yeah, you've got nothing to fear. Like, really, 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 really good this mod now. Right, trim set to 4 units. Auto brake is off. Helps if you stow the reversers. Don't forget to do that. Flight directors are off already because we did raw data. 3-1. This can go to 100. Start switches off. Strobes to steady, and appropriate off as well. There's no freezing conditions. Yes, it's below freezing, -2, but there's no moisture. You don't need the probe here. Yes, I've just seen on the chat that ZIBO's updated. Yeah, ZIBO, he watches these streams. You know, I've been a beta tester for him for well over a year now, and he often releases the patch that I've just flown. So yes, this version 339.5 should be public, and you'll have all the features that you've seen here. I hope you enjoy them. And ZIBO, if you're still listening here, absolute credit to you. Really, and Tim too. You know, ZIBO is the man behind the project, the brains behind the project. But it's not just ZIBO, and he'd be the first person to say, you know, I'm a very small cog in this wheel, very small. There's several other pilots providing feedback. You've got Twerkster who built the flight model, Audio Bird XP, and you need to give credit to him for making this incredible flight deck. You know, this project, it means a lot to me now, really does. And the way it's expanded and how good it's become is absolutely phenomenal, and it's free of charge for the general public. So, you know, go show your gratitude to the team. That would be really appreciated, I'm sure. Right, we'll take this stand here, 42. And there we are. Taxi, turn off lights, APU on the bus. I think that's the first time I've done the cleanup without screwing anything up. Weather radar's off, which I always forget in the desktop simulator. And we should have the guidance on here. We do. I think it's Aerosoft, this scenery, by the way. We did get this a while back. It is pretty good. Oh no, too far. Oh, I screwed something up. I had to today. Right, parking brake is set. 2 blues, 1 red. Engines are dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oslo Gardermoen. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyable stream. Thank you very much, guys. Really, really enjoyed that. I don't know how many viewers we got at that point. Probably did beat the Airbus stream because everyone likes seeing a Boeing pilot trying to fly an Airbus. Doesn't look like the air bridge is coming over. But anyway, fantastic. Really, really nice. And I hope that was a good enough demonstration for the raw data. Ideally, I wanted to be level at 3,500 feet prior to localizer capture, so I could talk in a bit more detail how we configure and fly those sort of approaches. But I think overall we did okay. Just going to scroll through the comments, which I always like to do post-stream, and also go on the external view. What's doing that? The post-stream, post-landing. So, yeah, butted it. I think, yeah, it was overall good landing. Bit of a float, though. Bit of a float. I didn't see how many seconds it was. Thank you very much to Stuart Payne. That was who donated on the approach there. £1.99. Appreciate that. You could do it. Land that big bugger. He said, well, thank you very much, Stuart. We sure buttered it in. I'm not sure about the other word, but appreciate the donation there. Thank you very much. Sweet butter. Love it. Butter melting. We had a comment. 900 people do. Wow, that was really, really nice to have that many people watching. Well, appreciate that, and I do appreciate it if you smash that thumbs up button as well. I am a YouTube streamer, after all, and if you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date. 8.7 second float, said Wilsh81. That's a little bit longer than I would have liked, especially on a short runway. Anyway, it wouldn't be a Fly Later Sim live stream without watching the replay. So let's do that and call it a day. Right, so let's get ourselves to that position here. And my goodness, I forgot the music. There we are. Right, let's have a look from the threshold initially. Oh, project flight. Yeah, thank you very much. How do I turn that off? Oh, I can't find the overlay for that, but I'll end the flight anyway whilst you watch the landing. Project flight. How do I turn this off? Complete flight. Complete. There we are. It's done. And I don't know how to turn the overlay off for some reason. There we are, there we are. Right, let me just do that replay again. Sorry, guys. Nice, get the nice smoke now on the landings and on the replay. Let's have a look at that one again. Right, so over the threshold about 50 feet. There's the check, closing the thrust now. And just holding the attitude, look a little bit high. You know, I want to be a few feet lower there. And there we go, there's the touchdown. Nice smoke effects, really, really cool. There we are. Cool. Very, very nice. Just do another one from the touchdown zone again. About there. Oh, let's play that back a little bit further. There we are. Yeah, I love this replay tool in X-Plane 11. So there's the check. Holding the attitude. Ideally touchdown now. There we go. A little bit late. We'll take it. Here comes a reverse. Awesome stuff. Another safe Alpaca Airlines flight from A to B. Guys, thank you very much for everyone that joined the live stream today. Especially again to everyone that donated. Joined as a member. I'll catch up with you a few minutes later, just prior before going to bed as well. I've had a busy day on the simulator. I need a bit of a break. And thank you very much to... I've run out of anything. Oh, the merchandise. Thank you for everyone else that purchased merchandise today. The mugs, a lot of mugs sold today, and a die cut sticker. I hope you enjoy whoever that was, but sticking that to whatever you so wish to please to stick it to. I always get so flustered at the end of streams because I have so much to say. And the generosity is continued. Guys, I hope you enjoy the ZIBO mod, the latest version anyway, which has just been released. I can thoroughly recommend it. As you've seen now, it's a solid add-on. It's just so good. The way it's improved is absolutely phenomenal. Go and enjoy yourselves. Have a pleasant week, and regarding the next stream, probably next weekend, but I'll keep you up to date. Keep you up to date with the posts on social media as usual. Guys, have a lovely rest of your evening and weekend, and I'll see you all very soon. Good night for me.